Hello, hello. How is everybody? Hopefully no jump scares. It is that time again. As the prophecies foretold, I have returned. And my mic isn't muted. I checked. I could hear myself. So I assume you can all hear me as well. How is everybody? Have you had a good week? I have had an interesting week. This week I've been working on something that is not SS2 related and has had me using skills that aren't usually something I do. So it's been an interesting challenge, and I've relearned a few things, and it's good to do that, I think. Sometimes to practice something either you've never done before, or you've not done in quite a while. And I can't talk about it, not just yet. I can't really go into details, but it is something you guys will see soon, and I'm very excited for you to see it. So, look forward to that. Keep your eyes open for random announcements I might make on Twitter or my next stream. Oh yes, that's right. Things are happening. Oh, I just saw a message from Cynical. I don't know if it's just me, but occasionally your mic will cut out for a word or so. Is anyone else experiencing that? If so, I'll have to check something. Okay, I'm getting some, I'm a bit quiet. Maybe my mic's cutting out? Ooh, that's interesting. Let's look into things here. Audio very quiet. Ooh. Ooh, I think I might know what it is. Let's look around the back of my mic. Maybe I've turned the gain down. That looks about right. Audio very quiet. Check sensitivity. Sounds quiet, not cutting. Mic's a bit quiet. Okay, so I think Cynical, the cutting out, that's a you problem. The quiet, that's a me problem. Let's see. I wonder what's causing that. Maybe it's a window setting has changed. They do like to do that. Maybe it's me. Maybe I'm just being quiet for once, instead of yelling and shouting as I usually do. Let's see. Sound options, sound settings. Mic's at full volume, although it is kind of low. Okay, I'm going to turn up the gain on the mic, which isn't something I like to do, because it's going to pick up more background noise, but let's see. Okay, I think I've moved that in the right direction. How's that? Is that sounding loud? Is it peaking? What's the audio like for everybody? I also had to make sure I'm using the right mic. Good. Okay, I have a good and better. That does seem higher than I tend to set the audio gain, because then it's going to pick up more room stuff. Are you running a compressor or limiter on the OBS? I don't think so. There's every chance I've knocked the gain on my mic at some point while moving it, and I've not noticed. So, either way, you can hear me. All is good. There's always a mic problem, no matter what. One day I will have the perfect streaming setup, but not today. Not today and not for a while. Speaking of, I've got a new screen, a new monitor for my computer. Some of you might remember last time I had a monitor die on me, or starting to die, so I bought a fancy new 4K one. And it had dead and stuck pixels all over the place. So I got a replacement. And it also had dead or stuck pixels all over the place. So I got all those sent back and I picked a completely different brand. And it also has stuck pixels. So I've got these great shining green pixels anytime the screen is dark, just staring at me. It's so distracting. I don't know why. I've never had any problem in the past buying monitors. And the last 3 that I've got all have problems. Some people online, it seems, say that, oh, that's just normal to have stuck pixels, but I've never had that issue before. Maybe it's something more common with 4K monitors, I don't know. Either way, as someone who, works visually a lot of the time, it's very distracting. So, I'm going to have to return this one as well and just try to find a good monitor. I don't know what I'm going to do. Like, I've gone for all the big brand ones and they didn't seem to do good. I've gone for a lesser known brand. Maybe that one was good. Apparently not. So Whew, I'm not having luck with monitors, so maybe my next one. Fingers crossed. It is Black Friday coming up, so maybe I can get one on a good deal. We'll see, we'll see. But today, we're not buying monitors, no. We're playing Fallout 4. There we go. If it wants to play nice. It does, I can see it. Fantastic. So I think where we left off, we had just returned from the Ron. We had the Vitamatic. And Jake wants us to play about with this setup he's got here with the Vault Hub that's been returned from Vault-Tec, which is over here. And the Calm Hub, which is over here. Now, first thing we need to point out is Jake says a line about interacting with the Vault Hub, but we have you interact with the Calm Hub instead. It's a small thing, maybe one day we'll get it changed, so you have to interact with something over here instead. I don't think anyone's noticed, so... Oh, the radio! Yes, thank you. Let's get that off. I've had no copyright strikes yet. Well, that's a lie. I've had no real copyright strikes yet. So I have the intro music and the on-pause music and the outro music. All of that should either be like open license, as long as you credit the creator, or it's in public domain, so it's not needed to mark it down or get a license for it. None of the in-game music's triggered it yet, so I've thankfully either got lucky with the radios or remembered to turn them off, or had someone very nice in the chat remind me to turn them off. But I did get a strike for the outro music, which is just a piece of classical music. But someone on YouTube has actually created a really weird compilation of noises and sounds and has made an album. It was really weird, and they used the same piece of classical music towards the end, and apparently that means that they own it now, and so they almost had a strike on my channel over it. But I did the whole filling out the form thing, so I was pretty sure that's not real. But yeah, that I got a message from YouTube today saying, oh, they've decided not to strike your channel. That's nice of them, because I don't think they own it. Anyway, let's get on with this quest. So I think we have to push a button. If you get out my way, Piper.
I'm sure you remember that noise. What you're hearing there are radio signals from all the nearby ASAMs. Turns out that's how the sensors and the hub connect with each other. Kind of obvious when you think about it. Don't know how I didn't realize sooner.
I see.
I could see that.
Now, if you listen carefully, you can probably tell something ain't right. Seems Vault-Tec had problems with their hub's receiver module. It can't establish a stable connection. But, watch what happens when we bypass the crappy receiver in the Vault Hub and instead patch in the far superior Calm Hub version. Now that sounds a whole lot better, don't it? Clearly the receiver from the Calm Hub works just fine. And that little demonstration is how we can use the Vault Hub to start testing components of the Calm Hub. Through trial and error, we can swap out parts, find what works and what doesn't, what we need to repair and what we need to replace. It'll be a slow process, but worth it in the end. I think we're finally on the road to getting a working Calm Hub, and more out of our ASAMs.
So, here's a writing thing. It's something I've tried to do for all of the quest, and I think I've hopefully done an okay job, where things are always explained to the player when it becomes relevant for them to understand what's happening and why it's happening. So there is a logical, in-universe reason for everything that happens. Even if you don't necessarily get to hear it always, but I try to always have a character explain to the player what's going on, why it's going on, and how it makes sense. Now, that's kind of you're setting yourself up for failure, because if you mess up, if you forget, like, lore that you've created, or a reason for something happening, and then later on you have something happen that's completely contradictory, well, you know, you set yourself up there. However, I think that's a sign of good writing, personally. I think all the best games, all the best TV shows, all the best films do this. It's just difficult to do in games, because generally things are less linear. But I'd say all the great games do it. They do it really well. It's just a huge pain in the ass to do it and to pull it off. So anyone who is making a mod that has a good story, or planning to make a good story, or have good writing, you need to focus on always have a reason for something, and it has to make sense in the universe. I was just reminded then of Jake explaining to you how we're about to go about things and why it will work. And when I was writing that, I was on the fence, like, do players really need to know this? Do they want to know this? And how do I explain it to them in the most simple way, but will also explain everything I need to, especially later on when some of this will come back into play. So the receiver module that we've just been playing with, that comes back into play in Chapter 3. So at the very least, I need to mention that. But do I need to explain how and why it works? That's something I'm always a bit... like, I think I should. But that's because I like that. I notice other things don't do that, where they only explain the, the key details, and everything else it doesn't really matter. I'm of the school of thought of something opposite, where it's, no, explain these things, because then when the audience pays attention, they can start to figure things out for themselves, because they have all the information. So, yeah. I'm going to be mean to Jake.
Took you long enough.
I know. And I really do appreciate your patience in this. Trust me, it'll all be worth it in the end. Oh, and by the way, thanks to that little patch job we just did, technically speaking, we're now connected to every ASAM sensor in the immediate area.
Skip to the good part.
This means we can now remotely send and receive data to any nearby ASAMs. So here, take this. That's the holotape you found. The one with the new plot types. Why don't you load into that terminal there?
Okie dokie. Load holotape. And I think it is this one.
Hey there.
You wanted more out of the ASAMs? Well, congratulations.
Oh, where are you going, Jake?
You just uploaded data for 4 new...
Oh! Tracking tools. With the ASAM software updates and the Vitamanic in hand, you now have access to powerful tracking tools to find items and settlers. So yeah, we now have more advanced mechanics. I don't know if you have actual access to these prior, but we just tell the player about it now. That's something I've not checked out in a while. But thank you, pop-up.
plot types to all the ASAM sensors in the local area. Now, how's that for a little taste of what the ComHub can do? Not too shabby, huh? Although, keep in mind, when I said local, I do mean local. Right now, our range is fairly limited, at least for the time being.
I see a message in chat. Personally, a fan of all the explanations because, yep, it gives players a lot of room and theory craft, like you said. Well, that's the trade-off. It's like, I imagine some players don't want that. They don't want all this exposition. Even though I try to make it as trimmed down and as streamlined as possible, it's still exposition. And some players just don't want that. So, it's difficult to always know what to do. I'd say, you know, fall back on what you would like personally, and hopefully you have an audience who likes the same thing, and it all turns out good. I'm going to be mean to Jake. That sucks.
That's disappointing.
Hey, it's early days. We still got a lot of work to do on the hub.
Mm-hmm.
Chances are I'll be able to boost the range and do some other cool stuff too. In any settlement that's not too far away, you'll now be able to build using those new plots. If you'd like, we could go test them right now. Or if you prefer, you can do it by yourself.
So, this I like. This is the first time I allow a player to skip a tutorial. Something we've been talking about for a long time, and I've yet to figure out the logic of it and how we can make it work, is allowing players who have come back and don't want to do all this tutorial stuff again to skip it all, but give them as much story content as possible, whilst hopefully not recording many, if any, new lines for Jake, so we don't have to give his voice actor, Tom, any new work to do. So, at one point in time, that is something we want to try and get in, where you can talk to Jake and just say, hey, I don't want to learn any of this stuff, I just want the story content. So you'll get like maybe half the amount of quests, maybe slimmed down, maybe alternate versions of them. Again, I've not figured it out yet, it's going to take some thinking. And it also comes down to how much effort will it be? Because if it's a lot of effort, it's probably not worth it. Just because, again, people have limited time, limited resources. But we're going to do this explanation just to see what happens.
Okay, show me.
I'd be more than happy.
But you can skip this. You don't have to do
just
it.
the place.
Especially if you understand the
Let me
mechanics
just
of the
update
game.
your Pip-Boy.
I just wish we could do this more.
All right. I'll meet you at that settlement. Don't keep me waiting now.
But again, that goes hand in hand with what I was saying before. How much do you want to explain to players? How much do you want to ensure they have all the information they want to know? It's a juggling game. I see another comment from Vealing Love. I like it for immersion, but I also realize I'm a brainy person in general. Well, I don't know if you relate to this as a writer, but I had to do a deep dive into quantum mechanics when I was a relay tech in my story. Oh, when I was trying to write the Institute relay tech scene in my story. Yeah, you have to... I'm going to say, for those who either don't like it or have never watched it, if you want a good example of including technobabble in your stories, you can't go wrong with either Star Trek, and that includes The Next Generation, Voyager, and to a lesser extent, Deep Space Nine, or Stargate, because they all have stories that do what I was saying previously, where as an audience, you don't really need to understand why the magic space gate goes whoosh and you can step through it and all the things work. But you can choose to explain it in a way that makes sense, and that way, I'm being tucked. Get it. Oh my gosh, that's a lot of blood. We'll just deal with these guys, and then hopefully I remember the points I was making. Where'd it go? Oh, thank you, Piper. Why am I walking so slow? Did I get hurt? Did I hit caps lock? That's why I hit caps lock, okay. Wait, so what was I saying? Oh, yes, Star Trek, Stargate. They have good examples of what I was talking about earlier, of explaining things in as much detail and doing world building that will give the player or the viewer enough information to figure things out themselves and be able to start predicting stuff in your story, which I think is a good reward for fans who, you know, I watched 10 of the previous episodes. I understand how this weird crystal thing works, so I know when this character does X, Y will happen, and they don't know that, but I do. You know, that's I think that's fun, and it helps you create a believable universe as well. I think. Okay, I think I was meant to come to Starlight. Is Jake just taking his sweet time? Ah, okay. This is an issue. I'm not sure if it's been fixed yet, but we're aware of it. Settlers, including Jake, will appear up here, and Jake seems to like to get stuck on the scenery. So, is he up here? I saw the quest marker. Oh, I think he figured it out. Okay. I think he managed to find his way down there. Where is he? Over here. Okay. I'm so not used to using the compass in the game. One of those... Okay, he made it. Fantastic. Oh my god. Well, that was left over. Wait. Is there usually a mine there? I don't remember there being one there. I know there's one inside the, inside the diner. Okay, we'll just wait for these guys to get up. What was that doing there? Okay, where were we?
Hey.
Hey there. Good to see you made it. I invited old Paul here to check out the new plots. After all, who better to tell us what they think about them than someone who'd be using them?
I'm excited to see what you got. Folks have already built a lot using the ASAMs. More options can only be good, right?
Technobabble is a good way of putting it. Star Trek and Stargate are good sci-fi examples. House is a good medical. That's true, House is a good medical. I was rewatching that recently for the first time in like 10 years. Good Wife is good for legal. I'm sure there are other examples. Yeah, there's a lot of good TV shows where either the writers are like, you know, for Star Trek or Stargate, you can tell a lot of the writers are nerdy enough to at least understand some of these concepts, and some of them actually did study some of these sort of sciencey things, and so they know all the correct terminology, so they can create fake terminology that makes sense and has a believable structure to it. House is very good at analogy. A lot of shows do this, actually. They will use an analogy to explain technical information or medical information. So yeah, there's quite a few shows out there that would be considered good by the audience who follow the rules I said before of always trying to explain to your audience, but you know, not doing it too much. You don't want to have an exposition dump. That's never fun. Shut up, old Paul. No, we're gonna be nice to Paul. We like him.
You look good, Paul. How are you?
Gotta say, living in one of your settlements has been a breath of fresh air. I haven't felt this young in years.
All right, you know the drill by
Paul.
now. Pick a plot to test and put down a sensor.
Okay, we have to build some of the new plots, and these I think you can do in any order as well. Doop. Okay, let's build them in order that they are. So let's put down a martial plot first. I'm going to put it over here by the entrance. Let's put it just there. There we go. And we'll wait for Jake to catch up with his scripting. Come on, Jake. You can do it. It's right there. Okay, the plot's building. I know this is a personal bugbear of Gaff, where he wishes we could get these scenes to play out as well as they do in the intro sequences where you're building a residential plot for the first time. These always seem to hang, no matter what. I'm guessing it's because at this point you have a lot more going on in the background script-wise. And even if you prioritize this stuff, I don't think the engine's really capable of doing what we make it do a lot of the time. We make it jump through some hoops to pull things off. Come on, Jake. It's going to build without you.
Hey there.
All right, you know the drill by now.
Oh.
Pick a plot to test and put down a sensor.
This guy's building
There's
it.
some real chuckleheads around, so watch
Okay.
yourself when you're out in the wastes, because you never know.
Let me just check. Create a commercial, martial, recreational, starlight.
Who's watching you.
Okay, that's interesting. It got assigned to... Like, yeah, I picked a standard one. It isn't one of the weird small ones that he might struggle with. Okay, let's pick recreational, see if Jake can figure that one out. Okay, Jake, you're up. This time. Come on. I can understand some of the frustrations new players have with this. Because again, we're super limited by the engine a lot of the time. And okay, that built really fast. Oh, I think we have a unique settler here. We do. I've not met this one before. We'll talk to him later. I'm wondering if, because I do have a bunch of settlers here who I didn't build stuff for before, because I cheated my way here, if that's caused some issues maybe. So this may not necessarily be an SS2 issue, it's more I cheated to get here, and so, you know, certain things aren't set up that should be. Okay, let's try a commercial plot. I'll pop that just there. Okay, Jake, I've built every one of the plots. Pick one of them, please. Gosh darn it, he just doesn't want to. No one's been assigned to it yet, though. Come on, Jake. No, someone's been assigned to this one as well, I think. This is very curious. Yeah, that guy's building that one. That guy seems to be in control of that one. Okay, Agility training unlocked. try building another Marshall one. I don't think it should change anything if I build it with a base. That should still be fairly standard. Come on, Jake. You can do it. I wonder if I can assign him to it. Nope. He is not under my control. I'm going to say this is either because I cheated to get back here, or there's maybe something to do with some of the add-on packs, maybe. I don't see how or why, and I don't think they would be to blame of what's happening here. But something funky is going on. Obviously, Jake is not recognizing these plots as something he can use to give us the tutorial. If I store it, and put another one back down. Come on, Jake. It's right there. The ASM pops up. Okay, I'm going to give him a little bit longer, and then what I might do is just go back and skip this tutorial quest. I wanted to show it because, you know, we're doing a playthrough and we're talking about how things were developed and why they were developed. Oh, I think it's because the other settlers aren't assigned. Try turning off auto assignment. Okay. Let's see. Okay, I think there should be a setting in here that we can use to turn that off. Options. Gameplay. Would you happen to know where that setting is? Assignment. So gameplay, assignment. Auto assignment. Okay, let's turn that off. And let's try putting down a new plot for Jake. So store that one. And rebuild it just here. This one's for you, Jake. Not those other guys. You can do it. Usually by the time the ASAM pops up is when he starts building. Nah, he doesn't seem to want to. Well, it's a good job we had a save just before this point. Darn. I'm going to give him a few more seconds and then we're just going to reload. Isn't there another auto assignment in the workshop framework? I don't know. Ken says, I've had this happen a couple of times and I don't know why he does it. I just tear down the plots and keep placing them and eventually he does something. Yeah, I'm thinking there's a chance this is happening because I cheated my way to this point. Oh well. Let's find the save I had. So we'll have to quickly redo things and turn down the tutorial. I don't think this is an actual issue with the game. I think it's an issue with me messing around with things, or possibly having other mods installed, because this isn't a bare bones playthrough.
I'm sure you remember that noise.
I did. I just heard it 10 minutes
there
ago.
are radio signals from all the nearby ASAMs. Turns out that's how the sensors and the hub connect with each other. Kind of obvious when you think about it. Don't know how I didn't realize sooner.
Can we maybe do this later?
Oh, really? I'm kind of in the middle of something here. but I guess if you need to go do stuff, just come on back as soon as you can, alright?
But we get to hear some red dialogue. Okay, I'm back.
Thanks for coming back. Do you mind if I finish my presentation now? I mean, it's not like I spent an hour rehearsing or anything.
Go ahead, Jake. I'm
Yeah,
very sorry.
sure. Go ahead.
Now, if you listen carefully, you can probably tell something ain't right. Seems Vault-Tec had problems with their... But... And instead... and that little through trial and error. It'll be a slope.
Sounds like fun.
I know you're pulling my leg, but I actually do enjoy this kind of stuff. Oh, and by the way, thanks to that little...
Oh, yeah?
This means we can... So here. That...
Oh, get that radio again. And let's load in the holotape, and we're going to turn down the tutorial this time.
Hi.
You wanted more out of the ASAMs? Well, congratulations.
Oh, don't walk
You
away.
just uploaded data for 4 new prototypes. So Now, how's that for a little... Although, keep...
That's disappointing.
Hey, it's...
Blah, blah,
In any
blah.
settlement, that's not... If you'd like...
Ugh.
Nope.
I don't need the help.
Fair enough. But at least take this holotape. All the information you'd want is right there. Just in case you need it. Say, now that we've got a connection to the ASAMs, I wonder if we could establish communication with them.
Nope, we just got all the plot types. No tutorial. There they are. Fantastic.
Let's see here. I think we should be able to set up communication with an ASAM. You know, two-way radio.
Hey there.
Hey, ready to try and get this radio working?
Sounds good.
All right. I've patched in the parts we need, but I think we're gonna need more power for this. So I'm gonna head down to Plutonium Well, boost its output a little. Whilst I'm doing that, it'd be really helpful if you could try tuning in the hub for me.
Oh, here comes the puzzle that makes me just cry inside. Because it's... I think I didn't get gaff the notes in time, or it's just it got skipped over. I will explain how this puzzle is meant to work, and one day will work. And technically, it does work this way. You just don't have the information you need to make sense of it. So I think at this point, it's become tribal knowledge of how you do this.
Sure, I can do
But
that.
Great.
we'll explain
just
it
sit
as it
yourself
happens.
down at the vault hub. Keep turning the frequency knob until you get a clear signal. Then just sit back and wait for my return. Okay,
So-
won't be long.
Jake just explained to you what you need to do. You need to turn the knob until you get a clear signal. Problem is, there's nothing to indicate that to the player right now. Oh, and we get to see a weird shot of the player's head. Cynical Bounce. Did you actually do the Rob little intros for each plot type? I did. I don't know if you actually hear them in game or not, but I did record them. Okay, so the puzzle that's meant to happen here, if you tune up, the static you're currently hearing is meant to get worse. It gets louder and heavier. But it doesn't, as you can hear. It's exactly the same. If you tune down, it's meant to get more clear. But it doesn't. So you don't have any indication of what way's the right way to go. So the idea is if you just hit tune up a bunch of times, the static would get heavier and worse, and then it would stop. And it doesn't matter how much you tune up, it doesn't go up anymore. Just to stop the player like going up 10 levels and then having to turn down 10 levels, because that's tedious. And then if they turned it down... Oh, it's clearer now. I must be going in the right direction, because Jake just told me I can make it clearer, and that's good. So if we turn it down one more time, we should get what is in the game of we get to the pre-signal radio thing before you actually get to talk to him. So you'll hear a few words cut in and out. So there we go. So we have the ending in, but we don't have those sound effects to indicate the right way to go in yet. So yeah, so many people get stuck in this, and it is not their fault. It's completely our fault. It hurts me inside.
Command, this is Golf Romeo 1-9er requesting additional support. Over. Command, this is Golf Romeo 1-9er requesting reinforcement. Over. Command, requesting comm check. Can you hear me? It's no use. I can't raise them. Something out there screwing over our comms.
But what could it be?
I'll try again.
I hear you.
What the? Who is this? How'd you get on this frequency? You're disrupting gunner communications. Do you know what kind of trouble that can get you in? You better tell me how you're doing this, and fast.
So here's another thing. I think this has been fixed. I didn't set up these conditions correctly on some of the dialogue here. So I'm going to try and make it do what I want it to do, but it might not. Let's see. I think if I click the
I don't know.
this option.
Don't bullshit me. Civilian gear ain't able to broadcast on this frequency. What kind of hardware are you using? Where are you broadcasting from?
Okay, now if I tell him... I'm not telling him.
I'm not telling you that.
Either you tell us now, or we'll just track you down. Don't make this harder than it has to be.
Okay, yes. I think the I said no option wasn't appearing. So I think that's been fixed now. Fantastic. Let's be stupid. No, actually, let's ask why first and see if that loops back.
Why do you want to know?
A civilian shouldn't have the kind of equipment that could disrupt our comms. I repeat, what kind of hardware are you using? Where are you broadcasting from?
Perfect. It's been fixed. I'm so happy. I'm going to tell him. Why not?
On the other side of Concord?
Oh. Hello, weird something happened.
Exactly where you are. Once we're done with our op, we'll be paying you a visit, and we'll want some answers.
So I know there's a weird way that we set up these little radio conversations, and that's why the sound did that thing then. I think in future quests we found a workaround to do this, which is creating a very small version of an NPC, and we'll put them standing like on the table there, and that's who you interact with. We did this with Berman when you talk to him on the radio, and there's been a few times where it's bugged out and he appears. He's meant to be invisible, so you've got a tiny little Berman on the desk that you're talking to, and that's funny. That should be a feature, not a bug. Is he still there?
You still there?
And that's one of the times I break my rule of not forcing the player to say something.
Slick!
But I think that's an okay
I got back as
reason to
fast
break
as I
it down.
could.
It's funny. Whoops.
I made a mistake.
We'll worry about that later. I overheard the whole thing on my Pip-Boy. The hub's broadcast frequency. It must be similar to the one the gunners use. Or at least close enough to cause disruptions. This is not good. We really don't want the gunners' attention on us. And we definitely don't want them sniffing around the comm hub. This is not good.
So, the condition on the gunners here, if you've found them in-game, that's not meant to show up. There's a global condition you can set that will be triggered if the player has sort of met the gunners, I don't know, on MacLeod's questline, or they've just encountered them in the wild. And that's what I set as the condition for that line. So you're meant to have a different one that pops up if you know about the gunners. I don't think that works, though. There's a few things like that where it's because I don't really know what I was doing, and I set up a lot of these Chapter 1 quests. There's still some jank in there that most people don't notice, but I do. I notice. Who are these gunners?
Who were the gunners?
The gunners are a mercenary group. Guns for hire. Never thought about it before, but I guess that explains their name. Anyway, they ain't exactly the nicest bunch of people you'd run across. If they could find a reason to mess with you, they'll do it.
Gunners. All the combat training of the Brotherhood of Steel. All the moral character of your neighborhood bully.
By broadcasting on their comm frequency, we've probably piqued their curiosity. They'll want to know what kind of tech we're using. They may even try and take it. I don't think we could afford to let the gunners come here.
What should we do?
I've been spoiling for a fight.
Whoa, wait, I'd rather not fight them if we don't have to. Maybe I could talk to them. Convince them to leave us alone. Hold on. I think I can find where they're radioing from. All right. Looks like they were somewhere northeast of Olivia. Well, guess I should go check it out. Try to find these gunners and see if I could reason with them. Although, kinda nervous. I'm used to dealing with raiders and your typical wasteland critters. But gunners, they're different. They're organized.
Oh yes, Piper is always watching. So, I don't think I've ever seen anyone do this on a playthrough, but you can just make Jake go off by himself. You don't have to follow him, in which case you'll get a slightly different opening when you decide to follow up on the quest. So if you want to, you can put the quest on pause here and go off and do your own thing. And Jake will try to... Well, he'll try and do things himself. It doesn't go very well, though, because, you know, the player is the one who gets things done.
Good luck. I hope it all works out.
Hey, if it's not too much to ask, could you come with me? I could really do with someone I trust watching my back.
I don't know. What do you say, chat? Do we help Jake, or do we make him go by himself?
What would I need to do?
I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but you got a presence about you. Kind of like a strong authoritative figure. Makes people think twice before messing with you. Having you close by might be enough to convince the gunners to talk, instead of just attacking on sight.
Okay, it looks like letting him go alone is winning.
Why not hire some guards?
Hire mercs to help deal with the mercs? Under different circumstances that could work. But right now, I don't think I have enough time.
Alright, we're being mean to Jake. It's a mean Jake playthrough.
I've got more important things to worry about.
Oh, I understand. You're a busy person. Okay, well, off I go. If you don't hear back from me, well, maybe come find me. You know, if you got the time.
Poor Jake. I think we can go there right now, and let's just save just in case. So we should have the quest. Yep, help Jake find where the gunners are, and we still have the places to check. 2 of them are sort of false places, and one's the actual place. We got nothing close by, so I guess we just got to follow Jake. Don't know why he's running that way though. So we're probably going to get there first. I imagine though he's going to teleport away at a certain point. But I don't know. Are we going for the bad ending? I was planning to do the bad ending, but because I cheated my way here, we've definitely lost some of the mean options. So I'm going to try and sneak a few in. Again, it'll be interesting to see a playthrough where people actually get the bad ending. I suppose I could always force it. I could go in and manually set the globals if I need to. But that's cheating. I'd never do that. I was about to ask, like, wait a minute, but we've already been to Olivia. Why is it not marked on my map? Because we cheated. That's why. Ooh. Which, yep, means that the raiders are technically there. Let's... Oh. And we're just going to run on by. And hopefully Piper does not chase those ragda stags over there. Okay, I think we're coming close to the first false point, where there's not actually anything there, and if Jake's with you, he's like, oh, seems like the gunners aren't here. I guess they're somewhere else. Oop. But you know what? I don't think I actually know what happens if you come here by yourself. I'm going to guess you get a prompt to continue on.
You're dead.
Ooh.
This is normal for other journalists.
sure I heard someone else shooting at me. Nope, maybe not. Okay, that's something for polish we might want to add. You get a prompt of like, go investigate somewhere else. Usually Jake will give you that prompt in person, but we sent him off by himself, so I can maybe see how some players will get stuck here. It's like, what do I do now? I went to the place, not realizing, oh, there's another 2 places you can go to. Cynical says, okay, when Cirque does a bad ending, he doesn't just do bad, he does traumatizing. Hehe. I try. Although, the truly traumatizing ending I don't think is in yet. I'll tell you guys how to get it. So, during the beginning of Chapter 3, you have to return to your HQ. Because there are some nasty gunners coming. Thank you, Piper. Ooh, and I'm gonna die. There are some gunners coming, and they have a Vodabird, and it's gonna do some nasty things. Unless you stop them. And if you don't stop them, well, something bad will happen. At least it's meant to happen. I don't think we've got it quite in yet. But there is a secret ending, let's put it that way. We did want to get it out there in time for release, but we just didn't. And it wasn't... It's something that maybe only 1% of players will experience, but I like those kind of things. Oh my gosh, okay, we're not fighting the super mutants. We're just gonna go over here instead. And I'm gonna save before the fight. Okay. Let's stim pack myself. We're gonna save before the fight. And we're gonna switch weapons, because that thing will not have enough for all those guns that are gonna come. Cal says, you made me cry more than once. Well done. Thank you. Okay, here's where I need to go. Let's save.
Who's this? More gunner operatives?
For the last time, I'm not a gunner. I just wanted to find and talk with them. Oh, Slick, thank God you arrived. I could really use a little help here. This fella seems to think we're with the gunners. Don't suppose you could convince him otherwise?
What's with all the bodies?
Gunners. And civilians.
Look, friend, I'm Jake, and this here's my partner. And we're not with the gunners. So please, just put the gun away.
You first.
Okay, that's fair. See? Putting it away.
All right. Assuming you're not gunners, why were you looking for them?
We were hoping to discuss something with them.
Huh. Well, I doubt you'll get much of a response, but if you want to strike up a conversation, go ahead. I believe that one was the leader.
So that's annoying. The awareness perk check, I think, is meant to loop back. So then you still have a chance to try to talk Aiden down in your own way. I'll have to check that. Who are you, Aiden?
Who are you, anyway?
Yeah, I'd like to know that myself. If you don't mind us asking, what went down here? And who are you?
Gunner expansion. They tried to seize this place.
But why?
Locals resisted. Maybe even fought back. You can see the results for yourself. By the time I arrived, it was too late to help anyone. So I found a concealed position on the overpass and administered a little wasteland retribution.
There's a lot to be said for ambushing enemies from the shadows.
Sounds like you've some experience in that field.
You still haven't told us who you are, or what you're doing here.
I'm Aiden, and without sounding too melodramatic, I hunt down gunners. Been on this squad's trail for a week. This is the 4th settlement they've hit.
Why? What's this all about?
Gunners have been unusually active lately, laying claim to territory all over the Commonwealth.
Why?
The settlement was just the latest conquest. Saying that, this place used to just be a solitary hut. I've no idea how they built up so damn fast. Sudden growth must have been what made them a target.
Sudden growth? Oh no. Don't tell me the gunners attacked this place because I gave them ASAMs.
What?
So I'm just
The
gonna...
hell you talking
Oh, it
about?
doesn't let me
They're
pause
these
here.
little
Darn
sensor
it.
things. Help people build stuff.
Oh, yes it does. I'm just using the wrong command. So right there, there's a Jake line that, in retrospect, I should have written slightly differently. So Jake says, "Don't tell me this place got attacked because I gave them ASAMs." And then Aiden accuses Jake of being the reason all this happened. It was his fault. And then Jake gets annoyed. He's like, "Hey, you can't say that about me." The Jake line should be something like, "Don't tell me these people got attacked because they were using ASAMs." It's a small technicality there, but it makes it a bit weird when Jake is suddenly concerned that he's the reason this happened. Aiden accuses him of it, and then Jake is offended that he got accused of the reason for the attack. So it's just like two words that I need to change out at some point. It's down on my list of lines to be re-recorded, and it's been there for about 2 years. But eventually I'll get it in, and no one will notice, but I will. I'll notice.
I've been providing them the settlements for months now.
Huh. Then this attack was your fault.
Hey! Now you just wait a minute. You better watch what you say, mister.
Yeah, so Jake needs to say, "Oh no, don't tell me they got attacked because I gave them ASAMs, or because they used ASAMs, rather than because I did it." Because it's such a small change, but it just changes the context, and it annoys me so much I didn't catch that. And there's so many small things like that that no one will notice, but I notice. See, I'm trying to be mean to Jake, but this will be mean to Aiden. Let's be mean to Aiden as well.
That's a load of bull.
Whether it was intentional or not, you made them a target.
You can't blame me for what the Gunners did. Folks deserve the opportunity to make a better life for themselves. And I don't appreciate some jumped-up vigilante accusing me of... Whoa, wait. You don't need to...
Reinforcements. Hope you can fight.
Uh-oh. So, what was it? So that's another thing of... I don't think we had someone on the team who could do custom animations at this point. So, the way it was written in the script there is Aiden's meant to raise his gun and point it at Jake, from what it seems like, from a camera angle. Jake's meant to be like, "Whoa, wait a minute." And then it turns out, actually, there's a gunner behind Jake, and Aiden was aiming at the gunner. Sometimes that plays out well, but it comes down to the camera that's in-game, which is kind of dynamic. So sometimes it looks quite good. Just then it didn't look too good. It looked a bit janky. Another thing for a small amount of polish one day. But right now, we need to fight gunners, if they ever come to us. I'm just gonna stay close to these guys. They know how to fight.
Who's there?
They don't see me. I don't have a grenade. Nope. No weapons. Alright. Okay, thankfully they're lowish level. Where are they? Where are they? Under the ground? Okay, I'm running around, that's not fair. Oh, no, they killed me. Damn. Wait a minute, don't we have a autosave? We don't, okay. I thought we did. So I'll have to quickly go through this conversation again. There should be an autosave, I think, at the beginning of that fight.
For the last time, I'm not... Oh, slick. I could really use a little... Don't suppose you...
Let's try convincing Aiden to put the gun down.
Look, all I need is for you to put down the gun. Then we can talk this through.
Not gonna happen.
Nope.
Look, friend, so please... Oh.
Uh-huh.
All right. Assuming you're...
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
Blah, blah, blah.
Why don't you just tell me how this happened?
Yeah, I'd like...
Uh-huh.
If you don't mind...
Gunner expansion. By the time...
There's a lot to be said for ambushing.
Sounds like you've some experience.
You still
I'm Aiden.
Uh-huh.
And on this squad.
Go on.
Gunners have been unusually active. What? Huh.
Hey,
That's not.
Whether...
you can't blame me. Whoa, wait. You don't need to.
And fight time.
Rein-
Can I save real quick, or are the hostiles too close? Fantastic, okay. At least I can save. Actually, let's
Better in our hands anyway.
take this guy's armor. Maybe that'll help us. Where is it? There it is. Combat armor. Oh, and we'll need to put those grenades back. Hunting rifle, pistol. Hunting rifle. Okay, sneaky, sneaky. Missed.
Come on.
There we go. I wonder if any of these have a helmet. They do. Let's get that on my head. Alright. Armor. Stay still.
Hope you make your peace.
I need to get a better vantage point. Oh, that's not fair. That's something that really annoys me sometimes. The AI can see through things that you can't as a player. Oh. Yep, I'm low on health. Oof. This is what happens when you don't actually level and you're only playing a game. Ooh, that guy is so gonna kill me. Run away! I'm just gonna hide over here, let them come to me, and take all the stim packs. Okay, so we've got a conscript there. Very sure Jake's over there. At least I'm shooting the tree. Let's try and get some headshots. Nope. Oh my gosh. Nope. This is so difficult when you don't level. I might cheat. I might cheat to get past this. Usually, by this point, I'd have all my weapons, I'd have all the armor, I'd have all the ammunition. But, kill all hostile. There we go. I did that. It was me. I saved the day, and then we get some reinforcements. Kill all hostile. There we go. No reinforcements. I think this is the last one. They're dead too. Divine intervention. Good job.
You handled yourselves well.
Yeah, well, felt the need to blow off a little steam after someone accused me of causing what happened here.
Not gonna let that go, are you? Say what you like about them, but the gunners run a tight operation. Sooner or later they'll figure out what happened here. Chances are you and your partner will be flagged as persons of interest.
Oh, great. That's precisely the kind of thing we came here to avoid.
You can expect more gunner attention from now on, so watch your backs, and they'll give you even more trouble than they give me.
So, right here is something I did previously in the Raider quest, where the Raiders kidnap a bunch of your settlers. And technically speaking, the correct option, in quotations, is the B path, which is usually not the correct option. But occasionally I will shake things up a little bit, and right now, speaking with Aiden, if you pick the B option, he gives a much more positive response. And that's because later on in the quests, it's not strictly an A path for the good thing and a B path for the bad thing. It's much more open to player interpretation. So here we have a setting up of later on, there is a choice you can make with Aiden and Jake. And Aiden, I think, is the B path, and I think Jake's the A path. Could be wrong about that, but I think that's how it's set up. But each one isn't necessarily good or bad. It's down to personal preference. So this is kind of me setting up that the B path is better. So if we click it,
We should get going.
Wise decision.
you
Reinforcements
get praised.
are likely on the way.
Good job, player.
Yeah, well, nice meeting you.
Yeah, whatever. Oh, and cut the charity with those sensors. They're just chum in the water.
Off he goes.
You think he's really gone?
No, he's right there, Jake.
I think so.
Good. Jerk. Can you believe what he said? That this is all my fault? You don't think he was right, do you? That giving these people ASAMs made them a target? That I'm responsible for bringing the gunners here?
Now, this is another case of I kind of messed up a bit. Usually I like to try to... So the options you tend to get are A is a positive, B is a negative or saying you won't do something, Y is usually a question, and X is a wild card, usually humor. So those are your options there. Here, I don't really give the player an option to tell Jake, yeah, it kind of is your fault. And I should have. And it's just something I overlooked. The best I can say is...
Does it really matter?
Which is kind of an X option, which is
Yes,
sometimes neutral
no,
as well.
Maybe. Who knows? I'm just glad that Aiden fella's gone.
Maybe I can polish that up at some
There's
point.
something about
It's,
that guy that rubbed me the wrong way.
it's a small thing.
Maybe it was the gun that he pointed at my head. And I'm not sure I trust his version of events regarding what went down here.
You don't believe Aiden? Why?
Why don't you believe his story?
I'm not sure. Just something about it didn't sit right.
My gosh, maybe at some point in the future there will be a quest to discuss this. Who knows?
Well then, let's get moving.
Hey, I know this may seem odd, but I think I want to stay here for a while. We may have stopped these gunners coming to Concord, but in doing so, we might have dug ourselves into an even deeper pit. I need to think things over. Maybe come up with a new plan of action for us. Or at the very least, reevaluate how we're doing things now.
Erica says, Cyric used his lead narrative designer powers and made it so all those gunners drop dead from the famous the whoopsies sickness. Yes, that is exactly what happened. I'm out here, Jake.
See you later then.
I won't be here long. Come find me at the hardware store later. And stay safe out there, all right? If anything happened to you, well, just stay safe.
This is the point in the story where Jake suddenly starts to kind of like the player. For now, I'm going to take a short break. I need to refill my drink glass. And I'll be back in 5 or so minutes. Be right back. And I am back. And I see the chat is having a spirited conversation about the fantastic Be Right Back art. A disc plate of it, that's a great idea. So I think we need to wait 24 hours or so for the next quest to trigger, so let's return to Starlight. Just a reminder to everyone, if you have any questions, either about SS2 or writing in general, or any questions, just at @SurikMe in the chat, and I will respond to any that I see as soon as I can. Oh, actually, I don't need to build a bed here, because there's one up here. Oh, sneaky radio. Got it. Excuse me. Okay, let's sleep for 24 whole hours. Very, very healthy thing to do. The bed is taken, but, you know, you can share. I don't think they'll mind. It does bug me a little bit how long it often takes you to sleep or wait. I think it's a game engine limitation that's sort of been in for so long, and there's just no way to get past it. I'm well rested after sleeping for 24 hours.
How long he was living up here.
Oh wow. Hyper actually comments on the guy on the bed. That's why I couldn't move him. I tried to grab the skeleton here to move it. Looks like I can kick it, but I can't pick it up to move it. Huh. That's cool. I like it when I find something in the game that I didn't actually know was there. Okay, let's go talk to Jake. There's Mala doing her thing.
They ain't very nice. They're called gunners. So if you see any, make sure you stay far away from them, all right? Okay, now, I gotta go. But wherever you are, stay safe. I'll see you again soon, sweetheart.
Who you talking to, Jake? Oh, Mala's pushing me out of the way. Did Mala just break this? There we go.
What was that all about?
Oh, hey, Slick. Didn't hear you come in. Turns out our radio connection between the hub and the ASAMs works just fine. I was just recording a message for someone.
Yeah?
What are you hiding?
Yeah. Well, after the whole gunner thing, I just... well... It's kind of... this is awkward. Was sort of hoping to keep this private. What I wouldn't give for an interruption right now.
Search complete.
Huh? Oh, right. I asked the robot to find my screwdriver. Good timing. I don't mean to question your logic, Chip, but...
Affirmative.
You know what? You're right. Turns out this hammer is my screwdriver after all. Good work. Now, why don't you go patrol or something?
Protect and serve.
That thought ain't right.
Looks like you got your hands full. I'll leave you to it.
Not so fast. Tell you what, Slick. If you can find my screwdriver, I'll tell you who I was recording a message for. It's probably past time I told you anyway. Sound fair?
I've got more important things to worry about.
Oh, well, okay then. But if you change your mind, all you need to do is just bring me my screwdriver.
Where could it be? Here it is. So, another small polish thing. You'll notice in some of the animations when Jake uses a screwdriver, it's one of the weird Institute ones. I don't know why that's the default, but it is. So I figured that's what Jake's screwdriver should be. So that isn't actually a model that exists in the game. So at some point, this screwdriver here will be one of those weird Institute ones that apparently only exists in the animation where someone's screwing something in. I'm not sure if it is an Institute screwdriver, but it kind of looks like it. It's like a weird mechanically automatic type thing. But here you go, Jake, wherever you have gone upstairs for some reason every time you do this. I don't want to have a conversation with him while he's using that, so there we go. Jake, why can't I talk to you, Jake?
Hey. Hey, you found it.
There we go.
Thanks. It was driving me nuts looking for this thing. Okay, you held up your side of the deal. I'll spill the beans on who I was recording that message for. You ready for a little history of Jake?
Here's something I think has been fixed. You can ask Jake for a quick version to recap if you don't want to hear it all again. Or you can ask him for the full version, that'll give you more details. If you ask for the full version, the second time you return to Jake, for some reason the short version would always play. I think it's been fixed at this point, I don't know for sure. But the thing is, there is no reason for it to happen in game. All the logic should always have Jake say the version you asked to hear. And I literally just deleted everything from the quest at a certain point and redid it all. I checked with Gaff and was like, okay, this is how I want it to play out. Will it play out this way? And he's like, yes, of course it will. And it didn't, still. So I think it's fixed at this point. I think it just started working for no good reason. But I have no idea why. There is no reason it should have not done it the correct way. Let's go for the full version and see if he actually gives it this time.
Tell me the whole story.
All right, full backstory it is. So, as I'm sure you already figured out, I'm not exactly local to these parts. I come from a settlement called Sanford. You ever heard of it? It's a nice place, providing you don't mind the odd cyclone or two.
What's it like?
There are far worse places to be in the wasteland you could find yourself. Life there was hard, but it was home. Anyway, that's where I grew up and became a young man. And where I met this young woman. One thing led to another, and... well, you know how it goes. You met someone and had a son, and I met someone and had a...
Do you have a daughter?
Yeah, that's right. I had a little girl. I named her Laura. And from the moment she was born, that kid became my world. What the... oh, that damn generator again! This is the 5th time it's stalled today!
For the longest time, we didn't have a sound effect there. So Jake just suddenly out of nowhere just goes, at nothing. The amount of people I saw playing who were confused or actually had a jump scare from that. Funny every time. What do you mean again?
Again?
It's the old plutonium well. The generator that kickstarts the fission reaction. It's been real temperamental lately. Hey, if you wouldn't mind, could you go get it started again for me? It probably just needs refueling.
Okay.
Excuse me.
You having trouble? Don't tell me the fuel tank's gone again. I swear, the slightest bump and the damn thing ruptures. If you need something to patch it up with, might be something around here that'll do the job.
I think there's some duct tape down there. I might have a perk that'll help me. Let's see. I think we put some duct tape in here, or there's some in the vanilla game. We have oil. That's part of that. Do I have some in my inventory? If not, I might have a perk to deal with it. Junk. Okay, we got duct tape. That hopefully will be enough. So I think this is the first time we let the player have sort of New Vegas, because they did this a lot on New Vegas style puzzle solving, where you have to interact with the... Oh my gosh, grenade. Well, you got it. Alright, because I cheated. All these things haven't been cleared out. Oops. Get it, Piper. Piper, get it. Okay, it's not there anymore. You suck, Piper. We're just going to ignore it.
Kiss it all goodbye.
Yeah, so I think this is the first time we allow the player to do a New Vegas-style puzzle solving of a menu pops up. Hey, you've got a perk. You can use that here. And I think this door will be... and I missed. I think this door will be locked. Yeah, so we're just going to cheat and get that open. Because this should be unlocked. Oh, can you actually unlock a chained door? I don't actually know.
Can't open it from the chained up on the other side.
Ah, okay. So we're just gonna... Whoop. There we go. Ta-da! So that's why the generator stopped working. It was Mala. She was smashing the rad roaches.
All is well.
What happened here?
Hostile target detected.
Uh-huh.
What are you doing down here?
This unit is patrolling.
Hello?
Greetings, sir or madam.
Never mind. We're done.
Protect and serve.
Mala. Oh, I have robotics expert.
Hey, robot.
Protect and serve.
I assume you can fix that?
Affirmative. Please stand by.
Yay, we made Mala do it. Oh, is there a fade to black here, or... Yep, there we go. Ta-da! Oh, and of course we have to hit the button. And get irradiated. All working, very good. Just grab everything in here. And off we go. Oh, we'll have that Milo to deal with. Okay, will the door play the sound effect? Nope. It sometimes does it. Oh, I heard it close. Didn't hear it open, though. I don't know why that door does that. I don't think we figured out why it just won't play the opening sound effect. But back to Jake we go. Oh, it's daytime. And he'll be upstairs again. Oh good, he's just standing there.
Hey there.
Ah, I got the generator humming again, I see.
Let's see if we get the
Thanks.
full version.
It's no fun trying to work in the dark. Now, where was I? Oh, right. So, years pass, and Laura grows up. However, me and her mom, Caitlin, we ended up drifting apart and separating. But I'd still see Laura all the time, though. And when she'd stay with her mom, we'd keep in touch. The radio. So, one day, I broadcasted our usual radio time to say goodnight. But there's no response. Now, you gotta understand, Laura's the most punctual kid you'd ever meet. She was never late for anything. Naturally, I began to panic a little, worrying if something bad might have happened to her. So I rushed over to Caitlin's house and...
So that was the short version. I don't know why we got the short version. You should have got a slightly longer version where you can ask more things about Laura. I think there's another question you can ask, maybe. So it just gives a bit more information for players who want that lore. I don't know why it skips that. I have no idea. It literally should not. I don't know why. I swear it's worked sometimes. There's got to be something else behind the scenes I just don't understand. So if anyone who hasn't actually heard it, I think you can ask Jake, what's Laura like? And he will explain, before you get to meet her, oh, she's really empathetic, she's really intelligent, she cares about others, she doesn't like it when other people have bad things happen. So it's basically setting up for when you later on find out the full backstory. And it kind of bugs me that it's been here since chapter 1, and I guarantee some people haven't heard it, even though they want to hear it, because for some reason it just refuses to work, and I don't know why. Kez says, I don't think I've ever heard the long version. Yeah, I've tested it, and for some reason it works sometimes. I swear I had it working at some point. I literally redid all of the dialogue because I figured maybe there's just something weird that's happened that can't be fixed, so like just delete it, start again. Okay, it looks like a lot of people have never heard this long version. You can, the very first time you ask him for the full version, that is the full version you get in the first talk. Or you can get the short version if you ask for that. Rip for all the polish reports I made since you started streaming. I mean, you can mark it down, Cal, as a problem. I honestly don't know how to fix it. Everything that should be done to fix it has been done. There's got to be something somewhere I'm just overlooking or I don't get. Because it makes zero sense to me of why. It's literally you just set a condition of like, did you ask for the long version or the short version? And that gets set when you pick either the long or the short version. And then every time you talk to Jake again, it checks for what version it should be playing, and it should play long or short, depending on what you've picked previously. Everything is set up for it to do that, and I don't know why it isn't. Was it Raiders, Jake?
Raiders?
No, not Raiders. It was...
Multiple hostile targets detected. Requesting backup.
Huh? Hostile targets? What is that robot?
Flee, 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 flee.
Oh, for crying out loud. Could you go lend the bucket of bolts a hand? As annoying as it can be sometimes, it'd be a pain in the ass to have to rebuild it.
Okay. I think one of these should be legendary. Maybe I'm too low level. Yep, no legendary. Huh.
If we're gonna dance, where?
Oh, where'd it go? Did
Hey,
it clip through the
something's
world?
out there.
Did it die horribly? Okay. Oh, there it is. We did it. We saved the day.
Thank you, friend.
You're welcome. Oh, and Jake came down to help. I'm going to let him go inside because otherwise the next scene's going to play out a little janky. Yeah, let him get there and...
Hi. Thanks for dealing with that. Now, let's see if I can finish my story. So, I arrive at Caitlin's house, gun in hand and ready for the worst. I open the door and there was no one there.
Come again? What do you mean?
At first I thought someone must have broken into the place, abducted Caitlin and my kid. But the more I looked around, the more I realized everything was tidy. No signs of struggle. And then I noticed all their belongings were missing. I ran to Laura's room. All her toys, books, even her ham radio was gone. They hadn't been kidnapped. They just packed up and left.
That's terrible.
I'll tell you, having your whole world flipped upside down like that, well, I don't have to tell you how that feels. Well, there's no way in hell I was gonna let Caitlin just disappear with my daughter. After asking around, I found out they booked passage on a caravan. They'd set off that very morning. I dashed back home, gathered a few essentials, and set off in pursuit.
Bitch.
Believe me, after finding out what she did, I called her a lot worse. Anyway, I tracked that damn caravan halfway across the wasteland. By the time I caught up with it, it had made its final stop. Here, in the Commonwealth. Caitlin and Laura had already departed, but I knew where they were now. Since then, I've put out a radio message every night, hoping Laura might hear it. Know that her dad is out here looking for her. After our little run-in with the gunners, I needed to warn her to stay away from them. I know she probably won't hear it, but still, I had to try.
Yep, definitely the short version. So in the long version of this, Jake will tell you a bit more about how he went to Diamond City, how he did find records that Caitlin had been there with Laura, but they'd also left because, as far as Jake sees it, Caitlin is looking for the best settlement for Laura, and Jake thinks that even Diamond City clearly wasn't good enough, which is just setting up a bit more of why Jake thinks they're looking for the best settlement and why he's then trying to build settlements up himself. So yeah, I have no idea why this only plays the short version. One day it will be fixed, but apparently not by me. Why didn't you tell me this, Jake?
Why didn't you tell me before?
Well, it's hard to share this kind of stuff, you know? But I've really got to know you, and I know I can trust you with this kind of thing.
Are you sure about that?
I've not really spoken to anyone about Laura since I got here. Unless you count the Ron. Anyway, thanks for listening. Feels good to finally share. Get everything off my chest.
Oh, what is it now? Feral dwarves? Irradiated death claws?
What? What's all this about death claws?
Oh, old Paul!
That's quite a path Jake just took.
Sorry, I wasn't expecting visitors.
Something up?
Well, cheese and crackers. You must be the ones with the ASM sensors, eh?
Me and my partner here, yeah. And they're called ASAMs.
Is it true what the old geezer said? Can ASMs really help build up settlements?
Well, sure, as long as what your settlement needs are some homes or farms or a scrap heap. But I should warn you, recently there's been some trouble with...
Gee, a scrap heap. Well, that settles it. We'll take 100 ASMs, please. How many caps does that come to?
Whoa, slow down. We're not just peddling some product here. Besides, I'm not even sure we should be handing these things out anymore.
What do you mean? Why not?
Hey, don't tell me you've already forgotten. That Aiden guy may have been a Brahmin's ass, but he did have a point. It's a fair bet that settlement got attacked because they used ASAMs. Who's to say the same thing wouldn't happen again?
Maybe you're right.
I'm just not sure it's right to give out sensors to random settlements no more. Not if it puts them in danger.
If you're concerned about giving sensors out to strangers, why not have them join us instead? I've got no problem defending those we bring into the fold.
Hey, we'd be happy to join with ya. Right now we're kind of living rough, so whatever it takes to get some ASMs, eh?
I don't know.
Look, I don't see what the problem is here.
Things are different now. We ain't just dealing with raiders or the odd mutant anymore. Can you honestly say it's the right thing to have these people join us?
You lose your nerve?
Hey now, come on. That ain't fair. This ain't about me. It's about whether or not it's right to put people in danger.
Now let's see if this conversation works. So if you leave, these guys are meant to have like a conversation that loops around. So let's see.
I don't think I want to get into this discussion right now.
Oh, geez. Was it something I said?
All right. We'll come back soon. We need to resolve this.
So let's see.
Oh, please. We won't be much of a bother. I promise.
Look, I know what old Paul told you sounds like kittens and rainbows, but trust me, there's bad people out there that will just cause you problems.
Oh, what's with all the fuss? So what if there's a bunch of hot-headed mercs out there? If these folks want to take the risk, let them.
I don't think either of you understand the gravity of this.
You clear out your ears and listen real good. This fella wants ASAMs, and you can give them to him. So just do what he's asking for.
I'm sorry, but no. Not unless my partner thinks it's a good idea. Until they're ready to make a decision, I'm gonna stand firm.
Oh, pretty please? We don't know how to build nothing. I'm not sure how much longer we can last.
I really am sorry. I just can't. Now just listen. I know it seems like the sensors will solve all your
I want to
problems.
trade a few things.
Oh,
You
maybe
also
that's
make
what to
Hey there.
That,
There we go.
but
I'm still
I'd
not
rather
sure
have a
about
roof
giving
over my
ASAMs to
head.
these people.
Come on, please.
Just let the kid join us already. Quit being such a baby.
But why
I'm
not give
still
us
not
the
sure about
ASMs?
giving ASAMs to these
Oh,
people.
Did I break it? There we go.
You need to decide, Jake. What's it gonna be?
I don't know. After the whole Gunner thing. What do you think, Slick? What's the right thing to do?
Well, tell me about the options.
Well, we could let them join us. But if we do that, we might just be making them a target. That's why I'm not sure what to do.
Don't worry. I'll get you up and running.
Really? You'd have us? Oh, geez, thanks.
I still think we're maybe asking for trouble. But I think you're right. We can't be scared to help folks. Okay, let's do this.
Oh, you really don't know what this means to us. Thank you so much.
No problem. Welcome to the family. Sorry, what's your name?
Hubert. Here, I'll mark where we're staying on your Pip-Boy. I'll run ahead and tell the others. Meet you there, eh?
I'll tag along with the young'un. I'm fairly familiar with sensors by now. I'll get his people up to speed before you arrive.
Here, Slick, take these. A few extra ASAMs, in case you need them. Let's get these folks up and running. And if the gunners do show up again, well, we'll just have to put them in their place, won't we? I'm gonna get back to repairing the hub. Oh, and thanks again for listening today. Good luck now.
And off they run. So I think last stream, someone had asked what my favourite quests were. And the one for Chapter 1 is coming up now. So we have to go all the way over there. Let's cheat and travel to Stall. Okay, and... actually, I think we've got... yep, we've got 3 levels. Let's see, what are some good... we got local leader, that's good. I think I've already picked a lot of the perks that will give extra quest options. Let's pick that one. Okay, now we should have some more perk options during conversations. Oh, poor dog meat. I swear I've got the everyone's best friend mod installed, so I can have dog meat and a companion. Maybe it's not working. I would bring dog meat, but I want to hear what the companions have to say. Okay, yes, right direction. Off we go. I'm seeing love in the chat for Hubert. Yes, we all love Hubert. He is pure. Probably from all the radiation he's absorbed. So a quick lore dump before we reach the group. The idea with Stodge and Company is each one of them is a ex-member of a different group out in the wasteland. So Stodge, who's attacking me? A Symph? Oh my gosh. I don't think we're ready for this. Let's give it a go. What does the most damage? The head, apparently. Just hide around this. And quickly cure myself. Yep. Missed. That's my helmet. I'm just gonna hide over here and quickly use a stim back. Here we go. Oh, it's following me. I know. Where is that shotgun? Boom.
In one piece.
Alright.
Ours now.
On the way, Piper. Yeah, so everyone in Stodge's group is an ex-member of something. Stodge is an ex-gunner. Hubert's an ex-Children of Atom member. Teresa's an ex-Minuteman, but also an ex-something else. But you won't find out what that is until one day we get her quest in. Something I want to do with all the HQ leaders is have a personal quest for them. Jake has his, because that's what happens through the main story. But all the other NPCs have their quests set up, but they don't actually have the quest in yet. So if you pay attention to some of what they say, they will give hints and clues of what their quests might be about. But I'm not going to ruin anything, because that's no fun. Yep. Uh-oh. I really don't like shooting the dogs. What is... Oh, I'm not fighting gunners. Come on, Piper. Oh, those guys are fighting something as well. What are they shooting at?
I'm hit.
Uh-oh. I think they bugged out. I think they're attacking each other. Okay, let's disable Hubert. Enable him, and hopefully he's not hostile with him. What else are they shooting now? The Brahmin? I don't understand who's shooting who here, or why. Okay, it looks like we'll have to disable Teresa.
Goodbye to those pearly whites.
This is so weird, I've never seen this happen before. And we're attacking. Oh my gosh. I don't even know how to fix this. Yeah, the hostility remains.
You're attacking me?
Let's disable Stodge. Maybe that'll fix it.
Have it your way.
Do not attempt to flee. Just
Okay, we're attacking gunners now.
administer with
Wouldn't want to be in your shoes.
barely.
Are they fixed? Are they attacking each other still? That wasn't just me, right? They were attacking each other.
You're a moron every day of the week, Hubert. Couldn't you have taken just one day off?
Hey, lay off. Maybe Hubert's onto something. What's the harm in just hearing them out?
I know this seems out there, and I was doubtful myself. But I'm telling you, these things are real, and they work. Oh, right. Well, if you say so. And, just who the hell are you again? Me? I'm old Paul. Used to be a scabbard. I don't care. My point is, I don't know you. I don't trust you.
Oh, come on, Stodge. Don't be like that. It's everything we could have hoped for. They already said we can join them. See? Here they are now. I told ya. All our building problems are solved.
You really are an idiot, Hubert. After I've dealt with this, remind me to explain the meaning of low profile to you. Okay, that's far enough. Throw your weapon on the ground. Let's see those hands in the air.
Who are you supposed to be?
I'm the one with a gun telling you to put down your weapon. How is this hard to understand?
Ooh, we got some weird clipping going on with Stodge's head there. I think that's a ghoul texture pack I'm using. Maybe it's because a lot of the ghouls in the game don't use certain hairstyles. Or maybe they do use certain hairstyles to hide that clipping. Or maybe the texture pack just didn't do it properly. Lupe even asks you not to shoot them. Yeah, for the dogs. Well, I don't want to shoot the dogs. It makes me feel bad. I like dogs. That dog cave is a real vanilla location for dog armor. Ah, interesting. It was probably friendly fire, i.e. they hit each other. Yeah, I figured that, but I didn't think they'd sort of go at it. Like, that's a really interesting way to break the game, really.
Wait a second. Are you threatening me?
Ah, great. Another Hubert. Yes, I am threatening you. Do as I say, or I will be forced to hurt you.
Ho! Let's calm down. Let's talk this out.
There's nothing to talk about. Hubert may have asked to join you, but he doesn't speak for all of us. and I don't for a second believe what he or this old man say about these ASAM sensors. ASAMs? ASAM, whatever. Look, I don't want to hurt you, but I don't trust your reasons for being here. So please, just hand over your weapon.
Now here's something I don't think I've ever seen anyone do in a playthrough. You can kill Stodge, or you can tell him to go away. Or you can talk him down. Now most people will talk down characters in Fallout 4. But I'm going to leave this open to the chat. Let's see if I can make a voting poll. If I can remember how to do that. Let's see. Okay, we have a vocal poll to murder him. We don't have a don't hurt him. How on earth do you create a poll again? I know I've done it before. Well, so far we've got 1 murder and 1 not hurt. So, it's up to you guys. What do we do? There we go. Found out how to start a poll. Okay. Let's just fill these out. Okay, poll should be up. Start voting. We can talk him down. We can tell him to go away. Or we can just kill him. It looks like talk down is winning. Okay, I think most people want to talk him down. There's no flirt option, I'm afraid, at least not yet. Ooh, turn him away and kill him though. Have increased the lead a tiny bit. Okay, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna save, and then we're gonna kill him, and then we'll reload, just so you can see how things would play out differently. Because I've never seen anyone do this on stream before. So let's make a save. Is F5 for quick save? Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, that's not happening.
Okay, fine. Have it your way. We'll all just stand here, everyone pointing guns at everyone. But if you try and make a run for it, it'll be the last stupid thing you do.
I think we should make a run for it. That's right, Piper. Stand right in the way.
Oh, hell, why'd you have to do that? Open fire!
Stodge, no!
Huh? What just happened?
Now they can attack each other. You're going down, Stodge. If I can hit you.
Damn!
You're attacking me? Just how stupid are you?
There he goes.
God,
He's dead. Oh, the robots! I forgot. And I'm out of ammo.
Warning. Hostiles in area.
Take out those legs. Geez, robots are tough. Oh, I want the leg. There we go.
Kill.
Come on, Piper. Kill the robot.
Why is it getting so quiet? Damn, that was scary.
There we go. Silly stodge.
Free for the taking.
Nice armor, though.
Excuse me.
Fudge on a fire ant! I can't believe it went down like that. Stodge wasn't a bad guy, but he was real stubborn. This did not go as I expected, but I'm still willing to give the Assams a try.
Whoa, whoa, not so fast. Look, Stodge shouldn't have been so trigger-happy, but it's not as if he didn't have reason.
What are you saying, Risa?
I'm saying, maybe we should think about what we're doing here. Before we charge headfirst into a pit of Mirelurk crap. I mean, we don't know anything about this guy. And he did just kill Stodge and the others. I don't know, maybe we should just leave before anything else happens.
Sorry, who are you?
I'm Teresa. And with Stodge dead, I'm the closest thing this group has to a voice of reason.
That's your choice. I'm not gonna force you to stay.
Look, I don't mean to seem ungrateful for what you're offering, but understand, we just lost our home to a bunch of wannabe soldier lunkheads. They annexed our settlement. And if we hadn't run, right now we'd be indentured workers. Or worse. So I hope you can see why some of us might be slow to trust some fancy pants peddler. Especially when what you're offering sounds too good to be true.
Have I given you reason to doubt me?
Well, I still think the Assams are our best bet. It's not like we got many other options.
Alright. How's this? We'll join you, and use these ASAM things, but you let us decide how we use them. We'll build our new homes ourselves. I think we'd all feel more secure knowing we're the ones in charge of how everything gets done.
You're cautious. I respect that. But I think I can handle it.
I'm not saying that you couldn't, but this just really needs to be something we do ourselves. This should be our home, and we should be the ones to build it. Besides, if we take care of everything, it means less work for you.
I'm not sure I trust you know what you're doing.
Stop me if I'm wrong, but I thought the sensors are meant to be easy to use. At least that's what the old codger said.
Sure did, and it's true.
Well, then I'm sure we'll be able to figure things out.
Fair enough.
Okay, good. Maybe this'll work out after all. Okay, you bums, listen up. I think I know how we should do this. We need to decide on a leader. Someone who can direct us as we build. And whose job it'll be to run this place once we're established. We all got skills that would be useful in a position like that. So I'm open to anyone who thinks they do a good job. Anyone who's interested, step forward.
So essentially things play out very similar to the Stodge version here, but Teresa takes charge.
Hubert? Didn't think you'd be interested. And, old Paul, was it? Not that I'm complaining, but why are you volunteering your wrinkled keister?
I've already benefited from the sensors. If I can, I'd like to return some of the kindness shown to me and help you people out. Besides, with your friends gone, you seem a few folks short. Least I can do is help you out a while.
Well, thanks. I won't turn away help, no matter how decrepit. But it seems we've 3 people for one job. I mean, we can't all lead.
Hey, I've got an idea. Why don't you decide who gets put in charge? I think you'd probably choose a good leader.
All right. I'll do it.
Well, that's all kinds of fantastic. I can't wait to see who you pick.
So normally what you do here is you talk to everyone and you can ask them what they would do if they're in charge. And they'll give you a brief description. And most of them tie into the, I forget what we call them, leader traits, leader perks. Each leader will bring certain benefits and maybe bonuses and debuffs, depending on who you pick. And no one will have heard Teresa's before, because she doesn't usually step forward. So we'll talk to these guys later when we reload and bring Stodge back from the dead. Let's talk to Teresa. What you got to say?
Hey.
How's it going, Fancy Pants? Made up your mind?
It would be nice to know more about you.
I don't really enjoy talking about my past. But I suppose I could share a little. Well, I used to be a Minuteman. You know, before that all went to hell. Before that, I was part of a merc group. Although we didn't really charge for our services. We just helped those who needed it. Or at least we tried to. The 2 others in the group were unconventional. Often they caused more trouble than they stopped. But still, I liked that we helped people.
So that's probably the first time you get to hear about Salvador and Griffin.
Okay, say your piece.
You mean, what would I bring to the table if I were running things? Well, a little structure and guidance wouldn't go amiss. I'm no stranger to leading people. I'd imagine leading a settlement wouldn't be much different. Besides that, I guess I'd shore up defenses and encourage as many people to settle as I could. I don't care where people are from. Everyone deserves some place to call home.
I'll have to think about it a bit more before I decide.
Fair enough.
Now we reload. It never happened. But yep, there's some Teresa dialogue that most people probably will never hear. And she can be made a mayor.
You don't want to lay into me.
Oh. Was that meant to scare me? Well, it didn't. But nice try.
But I want to help you guys.
All right, fine. You can hold on to your weapon. I better not regret this.
See, Stodge? No shooting. I told you it was all good. No one's here to hurt us. So why not listen about the Asums now, eh? If we join this nice fella, he'd help us build this place into a real home.
Youngest, right. Seen these sensors in action myself. Just the thing for a fledgling settlement. Okay, fine. If it shuts the two of you up, I'll listen. But I'm still not convinced these things are the answer to a new home.
Oh yeah, for a while Stodge just wore his rags with no armor over it. But that made him very easy to kill. So he has armor now.
I want to help, but I don't like the secrecy. Who are you, really?
No offense, but I can't go blabbing to every busybody who pokes their nose into our business. Sorry, but I gotta consider our safety. Look, we're just people who have lost our home. And now we're trying to start over again. That's all.
What are you guys doing out here?
We're preparing for a dance number. What does it look like we're doing?
Stodge, don't be an ass. It's a fair question.
Oh, okay. We're trying to build ourselves a new home.
Yes?
Hubert here.
Hey.
Low
I broke it.
profile. I'll listen, but I'm still not convinced these things are the answer to a new home.
Oh, that's why the camera broke out, because it was going to do that. Okay, I'm doing that again.
What are you guys
Hopefully
doing
the camera
out
doesn't break
here?
this time.
Yeah?
We're prepared.
Stodge, don't
There we
be
go.
an ass.
Listen,
It's a fair
but
question.
I'm still not convinced these
Nope,
things are
broke
the
it.
answer to a new home. Oh, okay. We're
That's
trying
interesting.
build
I'll have to try and fix
ourselves a
that.
new home. Hubert here was meant to be looking for supplies and materials
how
we
are
could
you?
use, all whilst keeping a...
That's interesting. Okay, so what's meant to happen there is he's meant to say all the lines. The camera's meant to stay on him, because the joke is he's yelling at Hubert and the camera focuses on Hubert and Hubert's sort of just looking away, a bit bashful because he did it wrong. Let's try one more time and see if it works.
What are you guys doing out here?
We're preparing for a dance number.
Oh, that's
what
weird.
does
It
it
breaks
look
the
like
camera
we're
every time.
doing?
Stodge, don't be an ass. It's a fair question.
Oh,
Write it down, Cal, if you're
okay.
still here.
We're trying to build ourselves a new home. Hubert here was meant to be looking for supplies and materials we could use, all whilst keeping a low profile so that he wouldn't draw any attention to us. Instead, he signs us up to some kind of construction scheme and brings back a bunch of strangers. So you'll forgive me if I seem a little pissed.
Oh, I see Cal. So when talking to Stodge here, if you pick the "Why are you here" option, the camera seems to break off him, which kind of ruins the whole point of the scene, because the camera is meant to stay focused on everyone. Oh, you already know that one. Okay, yeah. Don't know why it does that. That's interesting. Probably the way the scene's set up.
What would it take to convince you?
Okay. Even if I did believe these ASAMs do everything I've been told, how do I know we could trust you? We just had our old home taken from us by goddamn mercenaries. Had to flee just so we wouldn't become indentured workers. So I can't say I'm thrilled with the idea of us running, only to be leashed by some new landlord, making promises they can't keep. Even if these senses of yours work, I'd need to know we're not signing over our independence and freedom. I need to know you're on the level.
So Stodge essentially says the same things Teresa says, but he's more of a joke about it. Let's try our perk, which doesn't look like it's got the check. Oh, Cal, you're up again. The local leader doesn't have the perk check for the XP.
All people want to be free. They just need the opportunity to take it.
And just what the hell is that supposed to mean?
Exactly what he said. The sensors just provide you the means, but the responsibility's on you. You put in the work, and what you build is yours. Now that sure sounds like independence and freedom to me.
Well, when you put it like that. Okay, I'll go along with this whole sensor thing. We'll join with you. You better not try and screw us over.
Oh, great. Was Stodge on board? Everyone else will fall right in line.
But I've one condition, and it's non-negotiable. We'll join with you, and use your sensors. But you gotta let us decide how we use them. If we're gonna make a new home, then we should have the say in how it's built.
Fair enough.
All right. Well then, I think we can make this work. Okay, everyone, listen up. This is how we're gonna do things. We need to
Wish
decide
that
on a
Ramen wouldn't
leader.
walk around so much.
Someone who can take charge of the building effort, and then run the place once construction's done. Most of us have skills that'll be useful in a leadership position. So anyone who thinks they're up to the task, step forward and make yourself known. I'll go first. What the? I can't say I expected Hubert to step forward. But what are you doing, old man? You're not one of us.
I've already benefited from the sensors. If I can, I'd like to return some of the kindness shown to me and help you people out. I know I may not look like much, but I've been around a while. Reckon I could offer some useful guidance, at least until you're on your feet.
Fair enough. But all three of us can't lead. We'll have to pick just one of us.
Hey, I've got an idea. Why don't you decide who gets put in charge? I think you'd probably choose a good leader.
What would it mean to be in charge?
Well, I suppose the person would run the settlement. They'd be like the mayor or something. Although, everyone's got their own ideas on how to do stuff, so you should keep that in mind when you choose someone.
Why do I have to be involved in this?
Well, you're kind of already involved. I mean, we are joining you, eh? And it's thanks to you and your awesomes we're able to do this. Plus, I think you make a good choice in picking the best person to lead us.
So you can actually say no, in which case the default will be Stodge or Teresa, but we'll do it.
All right, I'll do it.
Well, that's all kinds of fantastic. I can't wait to see who you pick.
Well, I already know who I'm gonna pick.
Yep.
Hi, how are you?
Hey,
How's it going, eh? Got someone in mind for the job?
tell me about yourself.
Oh boy, where to start? Well, I was born, then I was a baby for a while, then a whole bunch of stuff happened. And naturally, I ended up joining the Children of Adam. Nice guys, but a bit too serious. So I left them and went walkabout, and then I met Stodge. Saved me from a real big mole rat. Then eventually me, Stodge, and some others formed a settlement. Then we lost it. Then we came here. Think that's about everything.
Okay, say your piece.
Oh, like, what would I do if I was in charge? Whew, that's a head scratcher for sure. Well, suppose I could ask my old church friends to help out. You know, if we're ever in trouble or something. And I guess just try and make the people happy. A smile can go a long way, you know? Just don't ask me to keep no town records or nothing. I ain't much for bookkeeping and stuff. Too many numbers, you know?
You know what? I'm sold.
I've made my choice.
Well, don't keep me waiting. Who'd you pick?
How about you?
Really? You're picking me? Oh boy. Well, this is gonna be fun, eh?
Now, where to send them? I think they will clear out wherever I send them to, so Let's go to Sunshine. That's not too far away. So every settlement can be assigned a leader. They'll act as a mayor. Their personality and backstory have various effects. To assign a leader, blah, blah, blah. We don't need to know that right now. And off they go. So Hubert's in charge of Sunshine, which should be, yep, just over there. Fantastic. Off we go. Oh. Got some building plans popping up there. So yeah, there's some dialogue that maybe some people have never seen, because most people will talk Stodge down. And that's kind of interesting. I expected more people to be aggressive to a character who's acting aggressively towards you. That's why Stodge is written that way, to be kind of antagonistic, and to give the players a good excuse to be like, maybe I should shoot this guy. Or at least tell him to go away. Oh, actually, you know what? While I've got a save, we're going to save this here. I'm going to show you guys another path that, again, I've never seen anyone do. Let's go back to our quick save. I think I should be able to do it from the quick save we have.
Yeah, that's not happening.
Okay, fine.
Nope.
Have it your way.
We don't do it from that one.
We'll all just stand here. Everyone pointing guns at everyone. But if you try and make a run for it, it'll be the last stupid thing you do. How could old
Okay,
Paul
we're not going to run. We're going to talk to you.
Okay, you've had your fun. Feel like handing over your weapon now?
Of course.
Okay, fine. Here's everything I've got.
Finally. Thank you. I'll just put your weapon in this footlocker. Nice and safe. Don't worry. You'll get it back when we're done here.
See, Stodge? He handed over his weapons. Nice and friendly like. He's not here to hurt us. So why not listen about the Asums now, eh? If we join this nice fella, he'd help us build this place into a real home.
Youngest, right. Seen these sensors in action myself. Just the thing for a fledgling settlement.
Okay, fine.
So Hubert says something there that it's something I've not caught in a while. He says, if we join with this guy, he'll help us make this place a home. Because originally this group was meant to show up at one of your settlements, I think. But something we discovered is that tends to be a difficult thing to do. So it was changed to you meet them somewhere in the wilderness and then you pick what settlement they go to. We're going to tell Stodge to get lost.
You know what? Forget it. You're not worth the trouble.
Yeah?
Well, it's about time you gave up on all this ASAM crap. All right, guys. This place ain't secure no more. We're gonna have to leave. Let's head out. Back on the road.
Sorry, Stodge, but no. I'm staying. And I think Hubert and Gibbs are too.
Teresa, what are you doing? We can't split up. We're a family.
Sorry, Stodge. We don't want to run no more.
Fine. If you want to take a chance on all this ASAM crap, then it's your funeral. And you, if these idiots are gonna join you, you'd better take good care of them. Or you'll be seeing me again real soon.
There you go. There's another alternate path, in which case, again, Teresa will take charge and say all the things Stodge was going to say.
What is it?
And I did toy with the idea of, like, if you do something to be mean to Hubert or Teresa, or I think Gibbs remains as well, Stodge would come back hostile and just attack you. But nothing ever happened in our story that allowed you to be really mean to them, so Stodge just wanders off and you never hear from him again. But that was an alternate timeline that didn't happen. We talked Stodge down and he's going to join Mayor Hubert in building up this settlement. And I don't want to fight all the ghouls, so I'm just going to skip forward in time. And let those guys do it instead. Jesus. Are they taking the robot? No robots. I don't think feels good to die. It might do. Oh, Hubert's friends have shown up, the children of Atom. Oh yeah, he can die. That's interesting. That's kind of cool, because there are hostiles here. I guess these guys showed up to help, and for some reason they also consider the robot to be hostile.
Hey everyone, I'm Hubert, and I'll be leading us now. So, I guess we should build ourselves some homes, eh? Alright then, let's get to it.
Tear it all down.
When did it get so quiet?
Maybe I should talk over this, because I have heard sometimes Gaff will get copyright striked on this particular piece of music, because it's the intro music from the main menu, and someone out there has done a sort of dubious claim on it. So every time it's played, his streams get the copyright strike on it. Now I don't know how that works with my channel, because I'm not big enough to be monetized yet. But let's hope this doesn't get a strike or anything. I guess I'll just keep talking. Again, if anyone has any questions about Sims Elements or game development or just me in general, @CircMe, and I will be happy to answer. That happened quite quickly, so I think we might be safe for the music copyright strike there. Where's Hubert?
Lou, would you look at this place?
What about it? Okay, apparently Piper likes the cold. Where is Hubert? Oh, it's interesting. They didn't actually finish building.
Anyone decides to pick a fight with us out here, we're in trouble.
Cynical says, folks here are saying that the Children of Atom guys attack a bunch of wrong targets. It's probably that we've like pulled vanilla records for them, and those records have them be hostile to most people. I'm guessing that's what the issue is.
Hey.
Oh, wow.
Hello?
This all looks real promising, eh?
Out there?
I knew the Atoms were the answer we needed. Thank you so much.
Quiet, eh?
I promise I'll do my best to lead this place in your name. Maybe now we can have a bit of peace and quiet for a while.
Alright, quest done. Return to Jake. Oh, we have to listen to his private frequency. Canuck says, isn't there a setting to change the music to the SS2 created one? I think so. I think Gaff may have put it in there for that very reason. Let's listen to Jake.
Hey! Hey, you're never gonna guess what I just got running. The comm hub! You hear that? That's the sound of the Commonwealth suture. Ah! Huh? What? Oh! Oh! Come on! Oh! Well, I was gonna suggest you come and see this thing in action. But seems the comm hub decided Explorer would be a better use of its time. You should still head on back. Fill me in on how things went with those folks. By the time you arrive, I should have the hub up and running again. Just need to replace those damn tubes.
Calculating chance of success. Less than 5%.
That's enough out of you.
Interesting it didn't have subtitles. Okay, back to the hardware store. If I can pick the right option. There we go, map. Back to the Museum of Freedom. I think we're getting close to the end of Chapter 1 now. Oh, Jake's up there again for some reason. We don't know why he likes to pathfind his way up here at this point in the quest. Or point in the quest line, rather. Did he just jump back to... Oh, he's sleeping. Okay. Oh, that's interesting. Huh. I've never seen him sleep before. But, wake up, Jake.
Hi.
Like, he's meant to do that, but, he just never tends to. Oh, and he's got the double gun bug as well. We don't know why that happens. It's, with the...
Oh, hey.
With the mod that
I hope things went
introduces
more
that.
smooth for you than they have for me. You take care of them folks? They all set up with ASAMs now?
Not sure I'd call it smooth, but it's taken care of.
Had a few hiccups, huh? I know that feeling. But glad to hear you got things sorted. After our meeting with the gunners, I was a little spooked.
Was thinking twice about this whole ASAM thing. Thanks for talking me around. Now, my turn to share some good news. I managed to get the comm hub running. Come over here, let me show you.
Is he going to walk off the roof or go down the stairs? That's the question. And we're in his way, so he's not going to do anything. Maybe he can get past? There we go. Off you go, Jake. Haha, I see what's happening in the chat. You guys.
I was patching in a few more parts when suddenly the darn thing just sprung to life. Guess I bypassed enough busted components.
Took you long enough.
We're not out of the woods just yet, but we are close. Now that the comm hub's actually running, I know the exact parts we need to get it fully repaired. If I could get this baby firing all cylinders again, it'll be perfect for what you'll be needing.
Can we maybe do this later?
Oh, alright, sure. You know where to find me.
Didn't actually mean to do that. Let's talk to him again.
Hey.
Welcome back. If you're ready,
I'm
could really
getting
do with
taller
a
and
hand
taller.
getting the comm hub fully repaired. Otherwise, it won't really work for what you need.
I'm listening.
With the hub fully functional, we could finally establish reliable
how tall my character
communications
is now.
between every single one of our settlements. Think about it. Near instant communication. Every settlement part of a networked interchange. If we had something like that, surprise attacks would be a thing of the past. Not even the gunners would be a worry no more. Plus, we'd have efficient division of labor, meaning faster settlement growth.
Just tell me what you need me to do.
All right, Mr. Hasty Pants. We're not quite at the settlement interchange stage just yet. First, we're gonna need some specialized components to fully repair this thing. That's where I'm gonna need your help. That is, if you're willing to do a little legwork.
Sure, I'm game.
Now that's the spirit I love to see. Here, I've already written a list. These locations are where we should be able to find the components we need. However, this ain't gonna be the kind of stuff you'll be able to grab yourself. The parts will need to be stripped out of the tech they're housed in. But don't worry, I got the solution. Mala! Get over here! I believe you're familiar with our robot friend. Figured it was past time she had a name.
And now she's gonna take a long time walking down the stairs. Or is she outside? I hear Mala. Let's
Good to see you again.
Mala here could take care of stripping out the components and deliver them back to me. And some of the Concord residents have volunteered to help as well. What you need to do is clear out a potential salvage site, scan it with an ASAM, and leave behind a locator beacon.
How'd you come up with that name?
Well, it seemed kind of rude just calling her robot all the time. And considering she has an official function now, I thought a name was in order. Mobile Analytic Load-Bearing Automaton. Or Mala. And since the name sounds kind of feminine, I figured that makes her a girl robot.
Protect and serve.
I have no idea what that is.
The locator beacon is an old side project of mine. I used to use them to mark areas where I found useful salvage. However, they're not exactly practical, so I kind of stopped using them. That's not to say they're not useful. They're just real heavy.
So I'm just muscle.
Well, yeah, but good-looking muscle. Seriously, though, this ain't a task just any brute can handle. You'll also have to press a button. I've adapted Mala's transceiver unit so she can pick up and follow the beacon's signals. That way, the robot can get to and from the salvage site without wandering off and getting lost.
If you say so.
I've started building some locator beacons we can use for the job. Now, I know they look a bit on the heavy side, and they are. But keep in mind, my first prototypes was twice as big, and 3 times as heavy.
You're kidding, right?
Nope.
Really?
Really.
Sounds like a piece of cake.
Maybe for you, but the rest of us ain't blessed with such sturdy frames. All right. Here's the first finished beacon. If you're a little way down, you can always unload some excess gear. I've updated your Pip-Boy with the locations. Up to you where you pick. You just need to clear out the area, scan it,
place down the beacon at the marked coordinates, then head on back for the next beacon. Happy trails, and good luck.
So we do actually have a storage chest right here. That is added for the very reason that Jake just said of, hey, you can leave some equipment here if you're way down. I don't think anyone uses it. I've never used it, but I thought it was important to be here just in case. I'm thinking we need to put like a sign or a note on it that says, you know, hey Slick, I make this for you, and don't worry, the stuff you put in there is real safe. Because, you know, there's a reason we don't just dump items in containers in the game, because they might get deleted. So I think no one uses this because they don't know it's safe. But it is, you can put stuff in here and it's safe and it'll never get deleted, so let's put in this Abraxo, yeah. There we go, nice and safe, and it will be there forever. So let's look at some of the locations. I don't think we've got them marked down yet. Nope, they're all the way across the Commonwealth. But I think that is where we're gonna leave it here for today. I'm behaving. I'm doing my best to make sure I don't run over time. Anywhere between 2 and 3 hours seems like a good amount of time before I get burnt out, and before I make you poor guys have to sit around and just endure me for 4 hours. That's just too much time. But we do have at least 10 more minutes in case anyone's got some questions or queries. As always, they can be about SS2, they can be about game development in general, or they can be about me. And if no one has any questions, that's okay too. I'll just talk about things. I don't know what to talk about, but I will find something to talk about. Actually, oh, Kez says, I did enjoy the long streams, but man, was it tiring at the end. Oh yeah. That was me not keeping an eye on the clock and not realizing, wow, it's been 4 hours. That's why I'm tired and my voice hurts and I'm really, really thirsty and hungry. Undercover Hat says, here's a thing on my wish list. Above the door of Jake's joint, there's a sign that says hardware. I think it'd be awesome if the sign said Tom's Hardware. I like that. That's a nice little nod to Jake's voice actor, Tom. I wonder if I bet that's something we could sneak into the extended edition of SS2. Cal, if you're still there, make a note. Tom's Hardware sign for extended edition. That would be a nice thing I think we could do for many of our voice actors. Find somewhere in the game where it makes sense for them to have a small Easter egg cameo. I think we have a few for some of the people on the development team. Either like small characters who are either a side character in something that they don't speak, or there's a name in like a terminal or a note. Is sometimes a reference to someone on the team, either their real name, if that's something they don't mind being out there, or a reference to their username, but it won't be a direct reference because that would be a bit silly. For example, if he's still around, Business Vulture. It wouldn't make much sense for you to read a terminal with someone who has the name Business Vulture. But something else bird could make an appearance somewhere. I'm not saying it does, but it might. There's quite a few Easter eggs here and there. Either references to people on the team, to other things or other games. A lot of the dialogue is often a head nod to some of the games that are my favorites, which is a lot of the old BioWare games like Mass Effect or Baldur's Gate, or one that's a personal favorite of mine, Jade Empire, which no one knows about, but I love it. That's actually a good recommendation. If you enjoy good story games, the back catalogue for BioWare has some great games. BioWare has lost their way these days, so I wouldn't recommend many of their newer games, but I'd say go as far back as you can tolerate, because some people don't like playing older games, and just see what they've got. They made some of the best RPGs ever, if you can get past some of the aged graphics and somewhat outdated gameplay sometimes. You know, it's been 20 odd years for some of them, and gameplay has developed. Kez asks, have I played Pillars of Eternity? Yes, I did. I enjoyed it, because it's very much a spiritual successor to Baldur's Gate. but it also did some things that I wasn't a big fan of. The writing was one of them. I think this is the correct game I'm thinking about. I was very excited for it. I think it was kickstarted, so I was following it since that point. But I noticed, whilst the writing is good generally, they do a lot of exposition dumping, and that made it really difficult for me to buy into this like brand new world that I knew nothing about, because suddenly I was having to read paragraphs and paragraphs of dialogue just to have a brief understanding about what was going on. And that kind of ties back to what I was saying previously of, I'm always a bit cautious about giving too much information to the player, but at the same time I want to explain enough to them so they're aware of what's going on. In my personal, humble opinion, I think Pillars of Eternity, it did that too much. So it didn't do it too little, where I had no idea what was going on because they haven't told me, but they did it so much that I just couldn't retain all this information that apparently was relevant, or I didn't know what was relevant and what wasn't. I think I've read somewhere this is a problem they fixed in the sequel, so Pillars of Eternity 2, but I never finished the first one, sadly. I think I got quarter way through and I just got a headache, and I wasn't quite sure what was going on, because I started just skipping dialogue because it was so much, and a lot of it isn't voiced, so I can't even just listen to it. And that could just be a problem with me. But I'd say I think they probably wrote just a bit too much dialogue there, and didn't cut out dialogue that wasn't needed. Just scrolling through the chat here, making sure I've not missed any at Zurich's. Apparently it's my fault for writing sexy characters. Thank you, Undercover Hat. That is true. It's all my fault. Oh, here's a tidbit of lore for SS2. I'm sure all of you in the chat right now, or watching, if this is something someone is crazy enough to watch not live, hello to you. Thank you for watching this long. I do the voice of some of the characters in the mod, including Stodge, who we just met before. I'm fairly sure most people could figure that out, either because they knew, or they can tell it's my voice. But I voice Stodge. And he's another good example of, there was something not great about my mic setup or my recording space. And so after his audio was treated, it sounds a bit muffled compared to everyone else's. So it's the same problem as Wise. There was just something about my old setup that just didn't work right. It's something we solved eventually, but some of the older characters I voice have just this weird muffled quality to them, and it only happens after the audio has been compressed, because we don't put, obviously, the raw audio into the game. We have to cut it and then compress it down so it's not huge in file size, and something in that process for some reason just kills a lot of my old audio that I recorded. So, feels bad. It feels bad to have recorded all that, and yay, I'm gonna be in the game, I get to be a voice, and then, oh, I messed it up somehow, and it sounds awful. One day, maybe I'll just redo it all when I've got the time. It doesn't sound bad enough that I absolutely have to re-record it, but I kind of want to. But it will also be a slightly different performance, even if I try to match it, and that might ruin it for people. We had to replace the voice actor for Sickle, because we couldn't get him back to do new dialogue for that character in Chapter 3. And I thought the guy we got to replace him was pretty close, and I thought most people won't notice, like Sickle wasn't that major of a character. However, I saw so many people making comments of, why does Sickle sound different now? So people noticed. So you can't really do much with audio or dialogue from characters without it not sounding right. Like, so I'm slightly hesitant to maybe re-record all that dialogue for Stodge and Wise as well. Wise has a lot less dialogue than Stodge, but it's mildly annoying that I can hear the audio quality not being quite up to snuff. Maybe it's something we can do in post. Kez says, exposition dumping was a big problem in Pillars of Eternity 1, but drops off considerably in the second act, and Pillars 2 fixed it pretty much. Okay, that makes sense. Like, it's a problem I think the developers would realize was a problem, either because they noticed or they had enough feedback from the community. This is I think I played that before I became Writer Man, person who writes dialogue for things. So even back then it was enough to bug me. Now it would bug me even more because I know more about writing. And so I notice a lot of the bad writing faux pas that people will make. Canuck says, you can hear a slight difference with Nick Valentine in Far Harbor. Ooh, that's interesting. I wonder if that's they recorded the voice actor in a different space, or the voice actor kind of forgot how to do the voice for Nick, which happens, you know. A year can pass, 2 years. You might not remember the exact performance you gave, or the exact tone you gave for a character. That's something else we've had problems with on SS2. If we get a voice actor back to revoice new lines, they may not quite remember the voice they did, either because they can't quite match it anymore, or they just don't remember. And so often we will try to get all the dialogue for a character recorded in one big session, and that way the voice will remain more consistent. So yeah, apparently even Bethesda struggles with getting that consistency in the voice, either quality or performance, I guess. It makes sense. There's so many variables that go into it. Like, you can't guarantee you're going to give the same performance, or even the sound quality will be the same, because, I know, something as weird as the humidity in the air could cause the sound to travel slightly differently and not sound as good. Or you could just be like 1 centimeter further away or closer to the mic, and that just makes it sound weird and different. I believe it was the second, says Canuck. So maybe the second thing I said, which I don't remember now. You'll have to remind me what the second one is. But yeah, writing in games is now something I've kind of ruined a lot of things for myself. Time difference. So it was enough time had passed since the voice actor had done the voice. Yeah, you can't quite remember the performance you gave, or the tone, or, you know, there's so many factors that go into a voice. Even when I do voices for characters I write, for Wise, for example, when I was doing his voice for Chapter 3, originally, when I recorded some of the dialogue, it was too deep in tone because I forgot how I do his voice. So I had to go back and listen, and then I was like, okay, I think I know how to replicate that now. So hopefully Wise sounds okay in Chapter 3. Undercover Hat says, in voice work, I really like the redo of Mansfield's voice. Yes. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but the voice actor for Mansfield was an absolute star to redo all of his Chapter 1 dialogue. I think he sounds better. I think it makes him more likable, and less cartoonish as well. Which you can have cartoonish voices, but, you know, not for a main character. You should try to tone it down just a tiny bit. Relatable, says Kez Daddy, as SS2 has heightened my standards for not only mods, but for video games you play now. Well, thank you. That goes down to people like Kobus, who will get just the perfect voice actor for a role, and then people like Cyvirus, who do audio treatment later to make sure, because even just getting the quality of the audio file to match the base game is a challenge. And I think that's something a lot of mods struggle with, or don't realize they have to do. Even if they have perfect dialogue from a voice actor with like no background noise and the perfect mic and everything, if you don't compress the audio in exactly the same way, then the audio in game might stand out as not belonging because it's slightly too high quality, or there's a tone to it that doesn't quite match the vanilla characters. And that's something you do occasionally hear in SS2, because, you know, the people working on it are mostly volunteers, and the people who aren't volunteers are crazy people like me and Gaff, who just can't stop working on it and need to get it finished. So, you know, you can't expect them to have the greatest quality microphones in the world. They're doing us a huge favor by voicing the character to begin with. So occasionally we will have some characters where you can tell the quality isn't quite there, but, you know, we can waive that. We are a mod. If we were a big game studio, we'd have a private recording studio, and we'd bring the voice actors in to ensure that their performance is the best it can possibly be. But we're a mod, so sadly we can't do that. Maybe one day. Fingers crossed. But yeah, as I was saying, this is going to sound slightly up my own arse, which it is. But from working on SS2 and learning how to write and what good writing looks like, or even competent writing, really, it has ruined it for other games where the writing isn't quite up to snuff. And sometimes that is for like very big games. There are some very big, like, AAA games out there that have awful writing or have bad voice acting. I'm not going to name it because maybe it's a bit mean. There was a somewhat big game that got released recently that I saw, and the voice acting in it was so bad because I don't think the voice actors were given direction. So you could tell that they didn't really know what was happening in a scene because they can't see what's happening. You know, it's the director's job to explain, okay, in this scene, you know, you're in the middle of a big fight. So you're going to have a raised voice and you're going to be slightly scared and panicked because, you know, there are bullets flying everywhere and your character isn't that brave. And then the voice actor can give the correct performance for the scene. But I get the feeling they just weren't given any of that information, and so it just sounds bad. It doesn't sound believable, and it's not really the voice actor's fault. It's the people who were meant to be directing them who just didn't give them the information they needed. Yeah, you see that in AAA games, and that blows my mind. You know, you have these millions and millions and millions of dollars, and you just need one person whose job it is to talk to the voice actors and tell them, hey, here's what's happening in this scene. This is your character's motivation. This is how you should be speaking. And they just don't do that sometimes. It's really weird. Kez says, I'm seeing an increase in video games of them getting big name actors instead of voice actors, and they're just not built for it. I think that's something that the entertainment industry as a whole, you know, I've seen films where they get the famous person in to voice a character instead of a voice actor, and a voice actor knows how to give the performance whilst maybe even just a regular actor doesn't. It's a different performance. It's more theatrical. Okay, here's a tangent I just reminded myself of. In a lot of the early anime dubs that were made, there is a very overacted performance given. So in stuff maybe late 80s, early 90s, you'll hear this, maybe mid 80s as well. And it's because a lot of the early dubs of animes, I think they were made in Canada for a lot of them. They were Canadian studios who would dub it over, and they'd get in theatre actors to do the voices. And so a lot of the early anime has really over-the-top, exaggerated voices for a lot of the English dubs, because that's what the actors were used to. They're theatre actors. They give that over-the-top performance. Now, eventually, they did manage to dial it down enough so that you had like a golden period where you got some of the best English dubs. Now, I'm a sub guy myself, generally speaking, but there are a handful of English dub animes where I can tolerate or even prefer them rarely. And it's because the actors acted enough, but managed to dial it back and realize, you know, you don't have to overact that much for anime, even though a lot of them are over the top a lot of the time. So I'd say the gold standard for that is Cowboy Bebop. Beautifully voice acted. I actually prefer the English dub for the vast majority of characters. There's a few characters I prefer the Japanese performance, but for example, Spike Spiegel, the main character, I prefer the performance given by his voice actor, Stephen Blum, who I think that was early in his career, and clearly he was very good at it because now he's in many anime, he's in many games. You've heard his voice even if you don't know it. He's done a lot of things. He's very talented, very versatile, and he gives just the perfect performance for Spike in Cowboy Bebop, which I prefer over the original Japanese voice actor, who does a fantastic job. But there's a slightly different portrayal in Spike's character through the tone of his voice and just how he says things. The English voice actor is a bit more playful, a bit more cheeky, and I think, personally for me, I think that suits Spike's character more so. And then when Spike isn't like that, it makes it all the more impactful when he's a bit more serious or a bit more dark or a bit more depressive. And I think it's a difference in cultural attitudes. I think Spike's Japanese voice actor is perfect to give a performance for a Japanese audience and deliver a somewhat playful Spike sometimes and a more serious Spike other times. But we, in English-speaking countries, don't quite get the same feedback through cultural differences, I think. So for me, being an English-speaking person and understanding English as my primary language and getting all the nuances of that, I prefer the English performance for that very reason. Canuck says, I'm not really into anime, but a couple I've seen, I prefer the dubs. Easier to focus on the show when I'm not deciphering the subtitles, that's true. Thankfully, generally speaking, Japanese tends to take a little longer to say than English translation, so it gives you a bit more time to read the subtitles, I found. I'm not a big reader, which is weird, considering I write. So I did used to struggle with subtitles on anime when I was young, especially because when I was, downloading anime from completely legitimate places, back when I was young, internet wasn't great back then. So the quality and file sizes were, the file sizes were small and the quality was quite low. So trying to decipher the very small subtitles that were all blocky and you couldn't really read, whilst also being bad at reading, recipe for disaster. But I made it through, and now I can tolerate it now. So I'd recommend try to give it a go with subtitles. You'll eventually get used to it, and it kind of becomes second nature to read them and not even realize you're doing it. Because I'd say the majority of anime series out there, generally speaking, the Japanese performance will be better, especially these days. I'm probably going to be shooting myself in the foot here for any future career chances I might get to randomly voice an anime series, which could happen. I don't know. I wouldn't say never. I'm very disappointed in a lot of performances I hear from modern day dubs for anime. And I think I don't know why. I think they're hiring people who either don't have the full experience needed to give the performance, or again, it's a lack of direction given to them. And so a lot of the more modern dubs, they sound to me as bad as some of the early 80 anime dubs. They're less overacted, but they just don't work for me. So it's either experience or just they're not given the direction. But yeah, so fingers crossed if maybe one day I actually do voice one of these. I get a team that's willing to give me what I need to give a good performance. Cynical says, it's a different experience, but not a worse one often. So I think that's dubs versus subs. And I heard some awful dubs, especially with Russian films. Well, that's a completely different thing altogether. Kez says, I think it's also the rush to get them out as soon as possible after the Japanese release. That's very true, actually. That's probably a big contributing factor. So back in the past, when I was young, you tended to have an entire series of an anime would be released, and it was successful, so they decide, okay, that is worthwhile exporting to an English-speaking audience, mostly American most of the time, and we have the full series, and we can take our time to make sure that the dubbing is done properly. Whilst, yeah, these days, often episodes, I think dubbing agencies are given the episode in advance, but they probably maybe have a few days to get it dubbed at most, and yeah, that's going to make it suffer in terms of quality. I'd rather them just wait until the whole series is out and take their time to dub it properly. Not that I'd watch it in the dub anyway, but, ideal world, that would be great. Canuck, Dragon Ball Z blew up when I was in high school, but money was an issue and I didn't have cable, so I never got into anime. See, that's completely understandable, especially if you're maybe, in your 30s now. We didn't really have access to things back then unless we were willing to pay a lot of money for it. Thankfully, I was made aware of how to acquire such things in completely legitimate and legal ways. And so I had quite a large anime collection, quite young. I figured out how to get those things. Obviously, as I got older, I learned, I can buy DVDs of them now, which is fantastic. But back when, VHS was kind of the medium everyone used, it was a bit more difficult to get some of that media. I see people saying yahaha and arg in the chat, and I don't know what that's about, but it sounds wrong, and I disavow it completely. Me hearties, don't even joke about that. Kez Daddy asks, how old are you anyway? I feel like we're almost the same age, and I'm not that old. I'm young and sprightly. I'm 34? Yeah, I'm 34. I always forget. I don't really keep track of how old I am. But I'm old now. Like, I'm old compared to when I'm young. I still think I'm young in my head. But, no, kids are young. In, their 18s and their 19s and their 20s. That's young. I'm an old man now. I like playing games that I played when I was young. And, they're old games. People don't play those games anymore. Oh, I'm seeing older people in the chat. I'm a youngster. Well, I've started getting grey hairs in my eyebrows. Nowhere else but in my eyebrows, so now I'm old. I'm 6 years older than you, Kez. Yeah, see, I'm an old man. I used to go to a local gym that was near a local school. And I used to be the young guy in the gym when I was younger, obviously, and other gyms I went to, I was often one of the more younger people in there. And so that's what I was used to. I was used to being like the youngster in the gym, and all the old gym guys would be my friends and teach me things. And then when I went to this new gym, suddenly there's like school-age kids in there who are like 16, 17, 18. And I'm like, oh God, I'm old now. When did that happen? And now they're coming up to me and asking me like, hey, how do I do this? How do you do that? Explain to me what you're doing. So that was one of the realizations of, oh, I'm old now. Damn. Oh, we have a 42-year-old in the chat. My gosh. So aged. So old. So decrepit. That's an interesting thing I have noticed, just in the modding community in general. There's quite the age range. We do have some youngsters who are like in their early 20s. We got some old guys who I think, I could be wrong, I think the oldest person on the SS2 team is maybe in their 60s? Could be wrong about that. And I know our fan base is quite wide as well in terms of the people who play it. And that's crazy. And that's really cool though. That's something, again, I noticed when I was younger and playing games. Games are kind of an equalizer, because, you know, it's not down to physical ability, it's down to just how well you can play the game. So, when I was young, I used to play Unreal Tournament, Quake, and Elite Force 2, which is a Star Trek game, but it played like those other two games. And most of the people I played with were like in their 20s, 30s, 40s, and I was like 12, 13, so that was interesting. A lot of them didn't realize how young I was until we started using TeamSpeak, which is an old service people used to use to communicate with each other in games. Before Discord, for any of those youngsters in chat. And then they realized, oh, this guy's really young. Like, why have you got a squeaky voice? Apparently we have some older folks on the forums. Old folks like forums. Forums are an old person thing. I still like forums. I think they're good. But they're not cool. They're not trendy. They're not, I can't think of any other cool lingo that kids use. TeamSpeak and Ventrello. Yes, those are the old speaking services we used to use in the past. That worked surprisingly well when you think about it, of how old they were. And the quality was quite good. And this was like on dial-up internet, so I'm amazed that those things worked as well as they did. I mean, I was probably using TeamSpeak until about 5 years ago. And that's when sort of that got retired and we stopped using it. Ah, memories. Anyway, I'm probably going to wrap up soon, unless anyone wants to get any more questions in. How long have we been streaming for? Let's check. Okay, we've been going for roughly almost 3 hours. Okay, not too bad. I managed to wrap things up before we went on for too long, so that's good. Kez says, forums just don't feel the way they used to. I was a long-term... I long for the old forums I used to go on, but they feel more cynical now. Yes, cynical. Why is that? Oh, clinical! Sorry, I'm reading words that aren't there. I'm dyslexic, by the way. Another good reason that I should be the main writer for SS2. I can't read, and... No, that's about it. I can't read. And I can't spell either. I've become way better at spelling, but... My god. I was terrible at spelling in school. Oh, and my handwriting is terrible as well, but thank god I can use a keyboard. Again, I really shouldn't be the person in charge of the main quest. Feeling Love says, hi, my name is Sirik. I'm 34 and I can't read. Yeah, that's about right. Oh, it's a meme. Ah, see, I'm old. I can't keep up with all these modern memes. Today I learned that, well, not today, I think last week, I learned that mid is the new term for something that's not good, that the kids use. It's like, ah, that thing is mid. That's not good. Kids are weird. I hate the new internet. I hate it because things pop up and become irrelevant within like a week. Like, old memes, before they were called memes, they stuck around for months, years even, before they became old. But nowadays... Oof. Yeah, see, that's how I know I'm getting old. I thought Cirque was about to say, I hate kids. I mean, some of them. Not all of them. I can't hate them too much because I was a kid once. And, you know, I play games, and as long as you're good at the game and you're not really annoying, I don't care how old you are. But then I've played some games where it's kind of like, shut up, kid, you suck at this and you're really annoying me. But most kids are fine. Well, maybe half of them, I don't know. Undercover Hat says, I don't mind kids as long as they stay off my lawn. I understand where you're coming from. Erica says, old internet focused on fun. New internet focuses on trends. You know, that's surprisingly deep and quite true. There was, I think, a more sense of community on like the old internet because there were there were fewer normal people on there. If you were on the internet, kind of you already had to jump through quite a few hoops to get there. So, you know, you were probably technological savvy. You had probably nerdy interests. Like, it was more like, oh, these are my people right now on this little weird space. And now it's everyone. Everyone's on the internet, so it's a weird place now. Kez says, I think I'm keeping up, but every now and again I find a YouTuber with 1 billion million subscribers and I have no idea who they are. Yeah, I've experienced that myself sometimes. It's like, oh, drama going down with Bigsby. Oh, and he's having a beef with M. Night Scoodly-Doo. And I'm like, what? Oh my god, they have billions of views. And they're like, if I turn off my YouTube and sign out, they're on the main page, like, and they have billions of views immediately. God, if you want to lose faith in humanity, log out of YouTube and just see what's on the main page normally. It's awful. It's tripe. It's just, And that's what most people are watching. It's insane. They watch just weird stuff. It's so weird. Okay, I think at this point I'm just ranting about the kids and how the internet sucks. I think that's a good place to leave it for now. So I'm gonna say goodnight to everyone. Thank you very much for tuning in. Next week we'll be doing another stream again, and we'll be starting chapter 2. Wowzers! It only took us, what, 4 episodes to get there. I think that's kind of reasonable. I do have to catch up on the forums. I noticed some people were putting some more questions into the Ask the Writer Anything thread that's up there. So I will catch up on that. I saw at least one question I think I can answer. If anyone else wants to ask a question that they didn't ask today in the chat, go to the forums and ask in the SS2 whatever question thread, and I will get around to answering it. But yep, thank you very much for tuning in. I will see you next time. Bye-bye.